For our guys to be able to stand up under that pressure and see it out and get a win, this is stuff that you just can't set up.
Yeah, good result. Kennedy outstanding in his final game with 8 goals, while Darcy Fogarty booted 4 for Adelaide. Well, Australia has defeated India by 9 runs to win gold in the women's T20 cricket at the Commonwealth Games. Peter Bowl, meantime, took out silver in the men's 800 metres. The 28-year-old from Perth has told Seven that he's pleased with the result, even though he did not win the gold.
Man, what an environment, what an atmosphere. So close, but we take second today, so I'm pretty happy with that, to be honest. It's a strange race again and super slow, but that's the 800, super tactical.
And the men's beach volleyball team has defeated Canada in the final. Australia's netballers, meantime, have now taken an 8-goal lead midway through the third quarter against Jamaica in the gold medal match. And Nick Kyrgios will be in action a little later this morning at the City Open in Washington. He'll take on Yoshihito Nishioka for a chance at the title. And that's the 5AA sport.
Now the 5AA forecast.
3 out of 4 people never hear back from interviews. Shouldn't people matter more than that? Zoom Recruitment.
Partly cloudy, 15 for your Monday. Mostly sunny tomorrow, 18. Wednesday, rain and 14. Thursday, 17. Right now, it's 8 degrees. More news as it happens on 5AA.
Breakfast on 5AA. David Penberthy and Will Goodings.
Credit Union SA Bonus Savings Account. Open your account and you could be rewarded with bonus monthly interest. Consider the T's and C's.
6:06, good morning to you. Welcome to Monday on 5AA Breakfast. Big morning ahead, big day ahead on 5AA. Tim Ginniver's first with the sports show tonight, joining Stephen Rowe today. And what a big weekend of football. What a big result for Port he's got to sink his teeth into as well. Big result, not in the positive sense, not in the affirmative sense, but a big result in terms of the future of the football club. Maybe. Lots to talk about, and you're talking futures of football clubs. The Adelaide Football Club, of course, has been a conversation for the better part of the last week, and that will continue tonight. So massive sports show on the way. Make sure you check it out. They're going to be a fantastic combination, and it's a big historic day on 5AA for a program that's massive for sports conversation in this state. Our show today is going to be pretty big. The Premier of South Australia will be on after 8 o'clock today. Real big walk down regarding the CFMEU donation, $125,000 that he was not 2 weeks ago telling us that was a sign that there needed to be donation reform, but not that there was a bigger problem. Well, that seems to have changed. We'll ask him about it. Then a little later in the morning, David Koch, the host of Channel 7's Sunrise program, plenty to talk to him about as well. We'll take you through some of the stories that are knocking around Adelaide and the world as well. David Penberthy, good morning to you.
Good morning, Will. Good morning, listeners. Very excited about Timmy G's arrival. It's going to give a lot more Alberton insight, I think. And Rowe's prepared to admit that himself. Tim is a passionate Port man, wears his heart on his sleeve. He's a cracking bloke too and a great broadcaster, so it's going to be terrific rounding out the team there on 5AA. Yeah, so over the weekend I started hearing crazy rumours amid doing the gardening and having a nice and rare date night with my wife that there'd been a bit of carry-on South Terrace on Friday afternoon. Now, whoever these people were, because let's not jump to conclusions and specifically accuse the CFMEU itself of doing it. Who knows what happened? But a bunch of people turned up outside the Master Builders Association office late Friday. Master Builders Association being the voice of the construction industry here in South Australia and nationwide, the sworn enemies of the construction union. They hate them. And anyway, there were people in a car who were out the front sort of doing laps, shouting abuse at NBA staff. Then, and this is a bit of a link, I guess, to the CFMEU, a clear link. Then there's a low-level sort of tomfoolery. Few of these people who, as I said, no firm evidence that they're CFMEU members, but whoever these people were stuck CFMEU stickers on NBA vehicles. And then in a more disturbing development, I'm not making light of this at all, when the CEO of the NBA got back to his car at the end of his shift on Friday, his windscreen wipers had been snapped and were broken, sticking out at a 45-degree angle. So whoever these people were, I think they actually did Peter Malinauskas a big favour because they actually gave him the trigger, and you could argue that with all the other evidence of how lawless elements of this union have been, he probably should have done this earlier, or the moment he found out that they were taking money from the Victorians, he probably should have said, nah, listen, I've spent 4 years courting people like Business SA and the master builders and getting good rapport with the AHA and all these business groups that effectively backed him 2 months ago to win the election. Suddenly he's linked financially to John Setka, of all people. Well, not anymore. The money's going to be handed back. There's a special emergency meeting of the SA Labor Party this morning or early afternoon, and the money is going to be handed back. It's an extraordinary story, isn't it?
Good bit of business for the CFMEU. So they invest in getting Labor in, and then they get a money-back guarantee after the election, and a hell of a lot of promotion in the process. Is the damage done? Like, is the link made? Now, in answer to all the things that pop up in future with the Libs try and link Peter Malinauskas to John Setka, he'll say, well, listen, we repaid that. No link. He'll say it. But as we know, what matters is what has permeated the consciousness of the average South Australian. Can he extinguish the stink of this?
Well, the stink depends on who you are. I think it depends on your ideological views. I think one of the most important things, though, is he's got a good relationship. Peter Malinauskas has got a very good relationship with the Master Builders Association. I mean, he was holding a press conference with them yesterday morning on an unrelated matter. I think within the business community, a lot of people are going to go, well, that's good. I actually think it's got broader national implications because the other thing is, at the federal level, there's a huge story going on at the moment about Albo's government. One of the first things it wants to do, and this has been on the number one item on the CFMEU's wish list for years, is to abolish the Australian Building and Construction Commission, which is basically like the watchdog for lawlessness in the building industry, i.e. CFMEU yobbos running around, barging their way into work sites on safety grounds, hassling people who aren't members of the union, tormenting builders that refuse to use union labour, all of that stuff. So now, like, it puts Mally in a different category to people like Dan Andrews, for example, who's a total soft touch when it comes to CFMEU.
Just walking back ever so slightly, notwithstanding the potential complete coincidence that it's all Master Builders Association workers' cars that have been vandalised. Have I missed a story? Have the Master Builders done something controversial recently? Is they involved in something where they've been advocating for something? Do they warrant?
Well, they represent
but
the construction industry.
Okay, so beyond their reason for existence, there's not some flashpoint that I'm not aware of at the moment, is there? That would necessitate, not that I think necessarily anything necessitates smashing up someone's car.
No, I just think it's part of the ruck and maul. I mean, clearly there's a whole bunch of people here in South Australia in that union who've got pretty serious convictions for breaches of the industrial laws, and they wear them like a badge of honour. I mean, when these people get fined, they get written up on the CFMEU website with the actual amount that they're fined and pictures of them, sort of thumbs up, like, well done, take one for the team, yeah. I know for a fact that the Premier saw that video too that we played as Breaking at 8 the other day. Channel 7 aired it, I think. And you just sort of look at that and you go, okay. These are the guys who've donated us 125 grand. So, but the worst may be yet to come. Because now that they're here, now that this Victorian mob's running the show here, the big bad thing will be if they start going after the companies like Sarah and like Synergy. And, the amazing thing is, spent a lot of last week sending emails to all these businesses. None of them want to talk about it. And why would you?
Yeah, what's in it for you? There's only downside.
They probably like their windscreen wipers too.
13 minutes after 6, we've got some news headlines to get to in just a moment.
Like shocks shooting through your body.
That's how some people describe their shingles pain. Shingles is caused by the reactivation of the chickenpox virus. While most people recover fully, up to 25% may experience long-term complications.
I had to cancel all my plans and struggled to work.
Up to 1 in 3 people risk developing shingles in their lifetime.
If you're 50 or over, don't let shingles affect your plans.
Talk to your doctor for more information. Individual symptoms may vary. Sponsored by GlaxoSmithKline Australia, Melbourne.
What makes you curious? Curious minds change the world. The bright, curious minds at SAMRI are daring to ask brave questions and might just have the answers. SAMRI is where a nuclear physicist from Denmark can have coffee with a cancer researcher from Darwin to save the life of a mother from Darlington. And who knows what next? So get curious. Get into it at samri.org.au.
Everywhere you look, there's a sign popping up saying, sold by McGain again.
And as we all know, there's still buys everywhere at the moment, so you can expect plenty of great offers on your home right away.
McGain have families lined up waiting for new homes to be listed for sale right now. So if you're looking to sell, contact the brilliant team at McGain and ask them about their McGain match strategy. They could already have the perfect buy for your property right now.
With the largest amount of buyer activity in the past 20 years, it's the perfect time to act, and just another reason why everywhere you look, there's a sign popping up saying, you've got it, sold by McGain again.
Summer's coming and Beaumont's great outdoor range has just arrived. We're stocked up with pool tiles and pavers, outdoor 20mm porcelain tiles, and our inside-outside Microtech tile is perfect for a seamless alfresco area. Choose Beaumont's and be summer ready. Beaumont's.
9 News has the experience to break the news. Made in Adelaide for Adelaide. 9 News.
Breakfast on 5AA. David Penberthy and Will Goodings.
Whatever you're saving for, get there quicker with a Credit Union SA bonus savings account. Please consider the T's and C's.
"16 minutes after 6, news headlines on this Monday morning. A specific figure won't be included in Labor's push for aged care workers to receive a pay rise. The federal government will recommend more than 200,000 staff receive a significant, quote, increase in submission to Fair Work. A Royal Commission into the sector has called for a salary bump to reflect the value of the work. Researchers have used fossilised teeth discovered in the 70s to uncover a new species of panda. Oh, excellent.
What?
They believe the relative of today's giant panda roamed ancient forests in Bulgaria, not China. So the origins of the panda are they're Bulgarian.
Seriously? How about that? Well, there's bears all across Northern Europe.
Makes sense, doesn't it?
Yeah, like there's grizzly. I didn't know there's grizzly bears in Mongolia.
Is there really?
I learnt that from watching the show alone. There's brown bears all over Europe as well. But yeah, how about that? And they found what fossilised teeth. What one of them left their teeth behind.
All that remains.
That's terrifying for you, Will. That there might actually be like more pandas out there because you really hate them, don't you?
I don't hate them. I just think they're utterly useless. I mean, we can't do all the heavy lifting to maintain your species.
I wonder if these Bulgarian pandas share a common element with their Chinese friends, and that they like sitting around at vast expense to the taxpayers, not procreating.
Yeah, well, based on the fact that only teeth remain, I reckon that's a reasonable inference. The conflict between Israel and Palestinian militants is continuing for a third day. Palestinian rockets fired from Gaza reaching Jerusalem for the first time since May last year. At least 31 Palestinians are reported to have been killed. There's been a positive development in that story in the last hour or so. Egypt had called for a ceasefire, and there are some preliminary reports that has been agreed to. The Federal Agriculture Minister is confident measures to stop foot and mouth disease entering the country are working. Livestock are most susceptible to the infectious disease, which causes ulcers in the oral cavity. Murray Watt says the current threat from an outbreak in barley is being kept at bay.
Response with tough new measures at home, support abroad, particularly for Indonesia, and just this week announcing the third prong to our approach, which is about putting in place a preparedness task force to bring together all the arms of federal government.
A man is set to front court in Queensland today over the alleged shooting murder of 3 of his neighbours and the attempted murder of a 4th. Daryl Young is accused of fatally shooting 3 adults at the gates of his property in Bogey last Thursday. A man was shot in the stomach but survived. Police say there's been a long-running boundary dispute between the families. And
It's the most extraordinary
It is
story,
a remarkable story.
This guy's running around the middle of nowhere. This is like the ultimate neighbours dispute by the sounds of things.
It feels like the ultimate premise for a spaghetti western.
Yeah. Yeah, or some bleak sort of, Australian sort of Wake in Fright type film. You ever seen Wake in Fright?
No, I'm familiar with it, though.
Oh, it's unbelievable. It's a great film.
With the end in sight at the Birmingham Commonwealth Games, attention is shifting to the 2026 Games in Victoria. 4 Indigenous Australian elders, Vanessa Amorosi and Baker Boy, will all feature in the handover ceremony. Victorian Games Chief Executive Jerome Weimar says it's an important milestone in preparing for 2026.
The closing ceremony is really important for us. That's really where we start to introduce the world to the Victorian 26 Commonwealth Games. It's where we take the mark and get ready to introduce the world to our games.
Now, pardon my ignorance, Victorian Commonwealth Games, is that Victoria as in over the road Victoria?
Yeah, over the road Victoria.
Melbourne?
Yeah.
So they're hosting it?
Yeah, this is the one that nobody wanted, remember? Sort of they passed the hat around and said, does anyone host a Commonwealth Games?
At least reminded me. It's the one that's going to have a real regional focus.
Yes.
It's going to be in Bendigo.
Yeah, they couldn't, there wasn't any major cities in the Commonwealth that wanted to do it.
I wonder if they'll do like the olden days sort of dress-ups like at Sovereign Hill. I wonder if that'll be part of the opening ceremony.
That's a nice
And I wonder if
idea.
it'll be as boring as it is when you get dragged along there as a kid by your parents. If any of our listeners, I want to hear, folks, has anybody got a photograph taken when they were a kid? The old, I think they dipped the pictures in coffee or something to give them that really aged look.
Ye oldie.
But has anyone got a shot of them, the dad wearing the strap-on sideburns, mum there with the sort of whalebone sort of bodice, the, corsetry and the big pushed-up bustier, and the kids sitting there looking bored to tears.
If you do,
wearing a tam o' shanter or
text
something.
in your photos. Automasters text line 0480831395. Thankful my parents might have spared me that one.
Not me.
It's a cold,
Scarred for life.
Cold day right across the country. The only 2 places in double figures, temperature-wise, are Darwin, which I don't think counts because it's 23.5 there. They don't know. They know nothing of suffering.
How good would that be? Middle of winter.
Yeah.
They're probably saying it's cold up there.
They would be.
They probably need more beer.
The next warmest place is Perth at 12.3. We're at 8.4, but it's just cold right across the board. The top today in Adelaide is going to remain cool, just 15 the expected top. But in a change from form, it's not going to rain. How about that? Neither tomorrow. It'll be dry tomorrow with some light winds and a top of 18, so a very pleasant day on the way for Tuesday. Then it gets wet again. Wednesday up to 10 mils of rain and 14, 6 mils on Thursday and 17, 10 mils again on Friday and 14, 6 on Saturday and a top of 15.
Having said that, though, Will, there's 2 types of fog I want to talk about today.
Yeah.
The first, I'm sure we'll get to any second now with Tommy Wren after his heroics in the final quarter in the West yesterday. But the second is the pea super variety. It's absolute fog central, isn't it? Conditions today. Sorry to say pea super.
Yeah, no, that's right. Your unerring commitment to being inaccurate is continuing. Yeah, it was fog. There was fog this morning. There was. All of it naturally occurring. You know that. You're just winding me up. I can tell. I'm not going to let it get to me. We've spoken about this with my therapist. Tune him out.
What about the other fog, though? Here's Tommy Wren. How are you, Tom?
Good, thank you, boys. Great to be here. Should we get into the winners and losers?
Yes, let's do it.
All right, well, let's start with that game. You were talking about it. Will, you called it yesterday, called it beautifully. The Crows, they're a winner as well, but it's possible to have winners from either side, I think, in a game of footy, and that was the case yesterday because the Crows, I thought, showed a lot of grit and determination for a young team, but Josh Kennedy was the big winner. 8 goals.
How
Could
good
have
is
kicked
that
10.
guy?
Yeah.
No, I was really quite torn watching that game because every time he got the ball, I was like, how good is he playing?
Oh, we were calling it like he was playing for the Crows.
Yeah.
It was just impossible not to get caught up.
It was great.
With 8 minutes to go, we had a conversation. It felt the script was being ripped for him to kick a goal after the siren. Like
It just felt like it, didn't it?
That whole game to me felt like an exhibition match.
Yeah, it did, didn't it?
It felt like about round 2 of the pre-season competition.
Yeah.
There was nothing really riding on it. Everyone was having a good time.
But I think it was a really good learning curve and experience for the Crows players to go through. 50,000 fans, big noise. Matty Nick said it's the loudest crowd he's just about ever heard.
Well, I'll say,
for them to do that was great.
After the crappy week the Adelaide Football Club
That's
has
right.
had, And look, part of this, like, I'm on the record as saying the camp was a bloody disaster. Everything that came out on Friday with Jenkins, I read every word of his statement. I thought, my God, the fact that this ever happened is a disgrace. Having said all of that, more than half the blokes who play for the Crows now weren't even in the team when all this was happening. Like, is it going to go on and on and on and on and on? So how good to be able to just, listen to the radio or watch TV for 2 hours and just go, let's actually concentrate on the on-field achievements of this group.
And it was great. And it was those younger players, again, Berry in the midfield, Fogarty up forward was fantastic. They showed some real resolve, and it was a great performance by the Crows.
Who was the poor bugger at selection on Thursday who got told, so in his final game ever, the guy who's kicked, 793 goals, you're standing on Josh Kennedy?
Poor old Butsy. He's had a good year. Yeah. He's a bright spot in the whole rebuild, and he had a really rough game on last night.
They were looking for him at every chance, weren't they? But they got the win. Other winners, before we get to the losers, Ollie Hoare, that run in the 1500 metres
unbelievable,
was just so good, wasn't it?
The final. I watched that. That was extraordinary.
Final 15 metres. I mean, you could see him coming. You thought, I don't think he'll get there, and just to will himself over the line was just magnificent. So. Well done to him.
Like a racehorse. It was like a little nose.
Yeah, it was.
You ever notice when they do this thing? I reckon it's great now in distance running. They flash up the speed they're running at. So it's 1,500 metres, and they're running at 25 k's an hour or something or other. You ever put the treadmill on 25 k's an hour? Good luck to you.
Yeah.
And good luck maintaining it then for a 1.5 k's.
You should rephrase that question for me, Will. Have you ever put the treadmill on?
Sure.
The answer to that's no.
The other winner, it's literally happened as we are on air at the moment. The Aussie women have just won the netball gold. They've beaten Jamaica. They lost to them in the group matches 57-55, so they've turned that around. A great result for the Aussie women and the Aussie women cricketers too. They won the T20 final. So we're raking in the gold, but particularly the women netballers, that is literally just happened in the last 10 seconds.
How weird was the story with Talia McGrath, where she had COVID and then had to sort of go out to bat with a mask on, and then took a catch at one point and had to tell her teammates, don't come and celebrate with me. It was like Nicola Spurrier's worst nightmare. They're all touching the ball.
Duck the ball, yeah, don't catch it. Or, bizarre. That was, and the loser, look, we'll go back to the football, it has to be Port Adelaide.
That was pathetic. Seriously, in a perverse kind of a way, like the Crows can keep their off-field dramas. What about Port's on-field dramas? They are just going out with a whimper.
We might analyse it a bit more closely tomorrow, but it is a very real possibility, I think, now that the Crows could finish ahead of Port. If the Crows win this week, which I think they will comfortably against North and Essendon lose, they'll both be on 8 wins heading into the showdown, final game of the season. So
Jeez.
we might analyse that a bit closer tomorrow. But
does that change the Ken Hinkley conversation?
It definitely cannot help.
I mean, crikey, if the Crows win that, let's not get ahead of ourselves. Oh, actually, no, let's do it. So, conceivably, very predictably, I'd say, a Crows win and a Port loss this weekend. If that happens next week, Port fans would just be like the atmosphere at the game too, because it's a Port home game. Like, poor old Ken Hinkley.
Well,
they've been holding on. They've been so competitive for so long, but it just felt like that. The last quarter and a half, it just sort of all fell away.
What did they start? 0-4, 0-5?
0-5.
0-5. I saw a Port fan make the point. 0-5 was a terrible start, but you go, there's some mitigating circumstances, injury, whatnot. With the season on the line, they've gone 1-4 in the last 5.
Yeah.
That's unforgivable.
And it's different from starting the year without no Dixon, no Robbie Gray, no Carlisle from memory. Sorry, Aaliyah.
Yeah.
Like, they're huge outs. But what's the excuse now?
Yeah. It's been a disappointing season. Some hard calls will have to be made on players as well, I think, including Gray, as you said. So, they've got some big calls to make, Port. No doubt about that.
Absolutely. Good on you, Rennie.
Big thanks to Tessa in Paraka. She sent through a photograph of her and the kids at Sovereign Hill, all dressed up in the olden days gear. What about that? We should do this. Send in your family driving holiday shots.
Yes. More embarrassing the better. 10-year warranty, 10-year cap price servicing, Agostino, Mitsubishi, Nailsworth and Elizabeth.
You deserve to enjoy doing what you're passionate about. Gardening, for example, or walking to keep fit. So if your body is stopping you from enjoying the life you want, Come and see us at SportsMed. Our Stepney Healthcare Hub includes our own hospital, orthopaedic surgeons, doctors, physios and podiatrists, so we can see to your care from diagnosis to rehabilitation all in one place. Easy. Get back to doing what you love. sportsmed.com.au.
If you've been thinking about a new vehicle, start thinking about a pre-owned vehicle from North Point Toyota. When you go pre-owned with North Point, you'll enjoy the same feeling you get with a new Toyota. North Point Toyota's certified pre-owned vehicles come with a full service history, independent background check and free 12 months roadside assistance. North Point Toyota's certified pre-owned vehicles are in a class of their own. It's the North Point way. Hillcrest Prospect, Port Augusta, northpointtoyota.com.au.
Having your own patch of land is the great Australian dream, and one of life's simple pleasures is mowing that patch. Now, mowing might not be a weekly task at this time of the year, but you can always give it some love with a little help from Stanford Mowers. Now, I was out there a few weeks ago, caught up with Ben and Archie. This is a really good business, and if you're into gardening, it's one of those places you just walk in and you sort of slowly turn around in a circle and go, I think I'd like one of all of these. The people at Stanford Mowers, they've been helping South Aussies take care of their patch for years and years, and this is it. They don't sell rubbish. They don't have a warehouse full of other stuff to sell. They've just got the best mowers and the best garden power tools available. And they've got this amazing range of Ego battery garden tools that have got all the power of petrol now. So keep your patch looking great, even in winter, with a range of premium brands at Stanford Mowers. Go see them like I did at 590 Main North Road, Jeps Cross, or check out their excellent website, stanfordmowers.com.au.
Face masks are an important barrier to help stop the spread of COVID-19 and other illnesses. Wearing a mask is mandatory in healthcare, including pharmacies, disability and aged care, and on passenger transport, and strongly recommended in all indoor public places. So make sure you're covered to protect yourself and others. We can all help reduce the impact of the current wave. For more information, visit sahealth.sa.gov.au/COVID masks. A message from the Government of South Australia.
5AA Breakfast is streaming live right now. To watch, simply head online to 5AA Facebook or search 5AA on YouTube. This is Adelaide's 5AA.
Partly cloudy 15 today with the 6:30 news. I'm Mel Usher.
Your ticket to live mortgage-free in Somerton Park is here, thanks to the Hospital Research Foundation Home Lottery.
Thousands of South Australians are getting COVID for a second time. More than 10,000 have tested positive to coronavirus twice. Latest reinfection data shows almost half of those were reported in the past fortnight. Meantime, modelling shows we could be facing another peak in daily case numbers toward the end of the year. It appears to be happening every 4 to 5 months. Qantas is asking their senior executives and managers to roll up their sleeves. The airline is looking to recruit at least 100 managers to work as ground handlers up to 5 days per week for 3 months. The Flying Kangaroo's staff shortages have been blamed for flight delays and cancellations, lost bags and poor customer service. The federal government will push for a significant pay rise for the nation's aged care staff. The Fair Work Commission is weighing up whether to increase the salaries of more than 200,000 workers. Unions would like a 25% bump, 4 times the rate of inflation. In a major legislative victory for President Biden, the US Senate has worked through the night to pass his historic tax and clean energy bill. Alison Petrowski reports.
The Inflation Reduction Bill will make a $534 billion climate investment, including tax credits for clean energy businesses, consumer incentives for solar-powered systems and electric vehicles, and aims to reduce carbon emissions by 40% by 2030. It is the biggest climate investment in US history, the Senate pushing through a marathon weekend sitting with Vice President Kamala Harris making the deciding vote.
The Vice President votes in the affirmative and the bill, as amended, is passed.
The bill is expected to be signed off on by the end of this week and will make America a global leader in the fight against climate change.
The conflict between Israel and Palestinian militants is continuing for a third day, with Palestinian rockets fired from Gaza reaching Jerusalem for the first time since May last year. At least 31 Palestinians are reported to have been killed. The BBC's Yolan Nell is in Jerusalem.
A large crater and piles of rubble show where Israeli strikes pounded Rafah in southern Gaza overnight. At least 8 people were killed, including the most powerful Islamic Jihad official in the territory, Khalid Mansour. The Israeli army says it's now, to use its word, neutralised the entire senior leadership of the armed wing of his militant group in Gaza. Islamic Jihad said it targeted Jerusalem with rockets in retaliation. The blood of the martyrs will not be wasted, it stated. While the fighting continues, there's growing international concern about the worsening humanitarian situation in Gaza, with severe power shortages and hospitals struggling to cope.
And Brad Pitt has the #1 movie at the US box office, Bullet Train, making $30 million in its opening weekend. Now turning to 5AA Sport.
10-year warranty and 10-year capped price servicing at Agostino Mitsubishi, Nailsworth and Elizabeth.
Here's Tom Wren.
Thank you, Mel. Adelaide's players will recover today following a thrilling 16-point win in Rory Laird's 200th game. Josh Kennedy booted 8 goals in his final game, but it wasn't enough as Adelaide recorded back-to-back wins. Still on footy, Carlton's Patrick Cripps is certain to come under scrutiny for his hit on Brisbane's Callum Archie in the Blues' 33-point loss to the Lions. Blues coach Michael Voss defending his skipper, describing it as a good contest.
Clearly, when you have not a lot of time to adjust in those circumstances, that made it for a difficult contest. I'm sure that one will get looked at, but from what I've seen, the arms were outstretched and it was a pretty even contest.
Australia has just won its 1,000th Commonwealth gold medal, with the Diamonds beating Jamaica 55-51 in the netball to secure the result. Earlier, the Aussies claimed gold medals across cricket, diving, beach volleyball, track and field and road cycling. Middle distance runner Ollie Hoare is still celebrating after winning the men's 1,500 metres. He says the track and field team has done exceptionally well.
To be able to produce the results we have as a team, it's been phenomenal. So been able to soak it up with the guys and the girls and just really enjoy our time here in Birmingham. And the results just show themselves how dominant we are on the track right now.
Plenty of English Premier League action to kick off the opening weekend, and it's been a horror start overnight for Manchester United, going down at home 2-1 to Brighton. Making matters worse, their crosstown rivals Manchester City enjoyed a 2-0 win away to West Ham. Elsewhere, Leicester and Brentford played out a 2-2 draw. And that's the 5AA Sport.
Now the 5AA forecast.
3 out of 4 people never hear back from interviews. Shouldn't people matter more than that? Zoom Recruitment.
Heading for a top of 15 today and partly cloudy, mostly sunny tomorrow 18, Wednesday rain and 14. Right now it's 8 degrees. More news as it happens on 5AA.
Breakfast on 5AA. David Penberthy and Will Goodings.
Whatever you're saving for, get there quicker. With a Credit Union SA bonus savings account, please consider the T's and C's.
23-7, the Automasters text line being inundated with everyone's family sovereign ill shots at the moment.
We should try to create our own opening ceremony for Victoria.
Yes. Okay. So regional Victoria.
Regional Victoria. The notorious Horsham McDonald's should have to feature. See, what you'd do, you'd have a giant queue of vehicles coming out. There'd be the big M golden arches in the middle of the arena, and then the cars would snake through. They'd spend about an hour in the queue, and then when they left, they'd find out that the order was wrong. That always happens at the Horsham McDonald's.
Yes.
It's got a reputation for mediocrity, that place, rightly or wrongly.
Well, yeah, they're more about volume.
Have you ever had a bad experience at the Horsham McDonald's?
A bad one?
No one's had a good one there.
No, I was going to say, I haven't had a good one. Mind you, it's just there. It's pure utility. Part of the opening ceremony would have to be people from interstate fumbling and ringing that E-tag number. You know?
Yeah, that's right.
Or maybe the stadium...
Or taking the wrong exit off the Westgate Bridge.
The stadium at some point in time, there's a float and it's just a giant envelope from, the Victorian Transport Department saying you've got to pay $14.55.
And I'm just trying to get to South Yarra, and now I'm driving in circles around Dockland Stadium. What's going on?
If you do have an idea for the opening ceremony of the Victorian regional Commonwealth Games. We'd love to hear it. 8223 0000. You can send us a text on the Automasters text line as well. A little bit later today, we got a fantastic prize. This is a bit of a choose your own adventure prize too. We'll give it away after 8:30. 5AA's food, fuel, or the footy. They're doing this on the sports show with Timmy G and Rowie as well. You got a chance to win one of 3 prizes to help put some cash back in your pocket in these difficult times. So it's the choice of either a $200 food voucher, a $200 fuel voucher, or, how's this, a night out watching Port take on the Crows in Showdown 52, plus a $100 dinner voucher. So those are your 3 options. We'll give it away a little bit later, after 8:30 in fact, with thanks to the great people at Foodland, with more stores close to home and everyday low prices. Great food lives at Foodland, the mighty South Aussies.
Hey there, Georgie girl, there's another Georgie deep inside. Bring out all the love you hide and know why change that be.
Sad news out of the weekend that Judith Durham passed away, and yesterday the Victorian government extended an invite to a family that should be honoured at a state funeral. The Premier, Daniel Andrews, announced that a little bit late yesterday. I saw a lot of commentary from people making the point that she was perhaps the greatest female front person in musical history. Who else would be in that conversation? And maybe listeners, you can help us out with this. 8223 0000, 0480 081395. The great front women in musical history.
There's a few that spring to mind. Debbie Harry, Chrissy Hine from The Pretenders. A lot of great female solo artists. Lucinda Williams, PJ Harvey. I think as far as longevity and also the scope, the scale of the music that she and the Seekers produced, I think she's in a league of her own. And what a voice! What a superb voice! Just such an upbeat sound. Georgie Girl, such a good song. But yeah, what a great life, Judith Durham.
A lot of it's interesting to note that you look at the charting positions of the Seekers hits, and they often outperformed in the UK compared to Australia. It's
it's funny, isn't it?
So much success in the United Kingdom. It's quite interesting that it's a unique one. I suspect it wouldn't play out that way these days, but it did. Just a really absolutely storied career. No doubt.
They also wrote the song that a lot of people think should be our anthem, I Am Australian. I am, you are, we are Australian.
Now, I saw a few people calling for that as well.
It is a great song.
It's a fantastic song.
It's a really nice
Does
song.
it work as an anthem?
Well, yeah, I don't know why there seems to be this rule that all anthems have to sound like the GWS song. I can't. That GWS song, that is really dictionary definition so bad it's incredibly good, don't you think? It's just the stupidest song ever.
Oh, it's fantastic. But it was done by the Cat Empire, wasn't it?
Yeah, I don't know. No, was it? Was it really?
The GWS theme song, yeah, I believe so.
The Hello Hello band. Most of the football songs are pretty naff, aren't they?
But you're right, they do follow a formula.
Ours is crap.
They do
Port's
follow a
rubbish.
formula.
Neither of the SA sides have got good songs.
No. Well, how many of them are good? There's about 2 that are in any way inspiring.
The Tigers.
Unfortunately.
Sadly. You know, there was this event apparently where they played that song on a loop. I don't know, you might have heard it mentioned in the last week. I'm not familiar with that.
I'll have to Google it. Let's check traffic. Until your new BMW arrives, Adelaide BMW will help keep your current vehicle fueled. T's and C's apply.
Good morning, boys. Roads looking really good this morning. No great hassle, simply some road works to look out for. At Woodville, construction works continue there. Woodville Road between Port Road and the railway line does get slow throughout the morning. Got a lane closed too. Brooklyn Park, we've got gas connection works. Henley Beach Road near Airport Road. And in the Parklands, Rundle Road is closed between East Terrace and Kettleville Terrace for the Illuminate Festival. Cameras on the drive-in, Marshall Terrace, Brooklyn Park, and Adelphi Terrace, Auckland Hills North. Tomorrow's car is in stock today. Tech Drive, a Hyundai Tucson Turbo Diesel at your Hyundai dealer, and experience innovative tech and all-wheel drive performance. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
The Haval H6 is a smart SUV, mainly because of its smart tech, safety and design, but also because of the driver, someone clever enough to demand more and get it. Haval H6, smart move.
For over 38 years, Steinborner has been well worth the trip. With over 400 used cars to choose from, you're sure to find the car you're looking for. Steinborner is your first choice for new Hyundai and Mitsubishi in the Barossa and your first choice for Ford in Clare. And don't forget, you can always click through the collection of vehicles online at steinborner.com.au. Great local deals on great local cars from your locals. Steinborner Automotive. Still well worth the trip or well worth the click.
Now, have you got a space in your shed, your workshop, around the home, or as was the case with me in your garden, that is begging to become storage space?
We'll get on to Sharman Shelving. They love turning any space into a storage space, and it will look good too.
I was only looking at the gently sliding drawers in my Sharman shelf yesterday, thinking, which of my 4 secateurs will I use for this job? And just seeing them all laid out. You know, what is this thing, 3 years old now? Still brings me joy. Go in there, Bill or Christine, they'll come to your home, your office, your workshop or your shed to measure it up. Then they'll design, deliver and assemble the perfect storage solution in a great range of colours.
Yes, goodbye space. Hello, storage space. You won't have to lift a finger either. It's all done for you. In fact, the only thing you're going to be lifting is to say, oi, put my Sharman shelf right over there.
That's right. When it comes to storage solutions, everyone needs a little Sharman in their life. Call into the showroom at 412 North East Road, Windsor Gardens. Visit sharmanshelving.com.au or take a look on Facebook.
G'day, it's Mark Bickley. For most business PC brands, a 4-hour service guarantee means they'll call you back in 4 hours. But at Leader Computers, a 4-hour service guarantee on Leader's business range means they'll come to your worksite and have you back in business inside 4 hours. Leader Computers are local, made here in Adelaide with better service, better support and speedy turnaround times. Live life local. Live life Leader. Leader Computers. Find your local dealer at leadersystems.com.au.
When you've been around for over a century, you know a thing or two. And Business SA and Ray White have almost 300 years between them. So when an alliance is formed between Business SA and Ray White Business Sales SA, they're bringing all their experience to your business, making sure it's in top shape, whether you're buying, selling or somewhere in between. Get in touch with the experts, Business SA and Ray White Business Sales SA on 8300 0000. That's 8300 0000.
9 News has the experience to break the news. Made in Adelaide for Adelaide. 9 News.
Breakfast on 5AA. David Penberthy and Will Goodings.
Credit Union SA bonus savings account. Open your account and you could be rewarded with bonus monthly interest. Consider the T's and C's.
"15 minutes to 7. You can watch along on the Credit Union SA Facebook and YouTube live stream. Significantly fewer shenanigans this week. It's just sort of back to business in the absence of the underdrive. Lucy is a number written down somewhere that she won't show me yet about the final tally of the underdrive for Catherine House in the Hutt Street Centre. We're going to be joined by the heads of both those magnificent charities after 7:30 to put a cap on the underdrive and announce what the final figure was.
It was at least $75,000.
Yeah, we were there as of 9 o'clock Friday morning, and there were still donations coming in, as I understand it. So we'll announce that after 7:30 today. Let's talk weather. Tina Donaldson, senior forecaster at the Bureau's on the line. Morning, Tina.
Good morning.
So what kind of week have we got ahead?
Yeah, look, a couple of dry days to start off with, but then the wet weather returning from Wednesday. So looking at today, look, there's been a little bit of fog reported around overnight. The airport, the visibility down there got down to around 300 metres, but looks like that's starting to break up now. There's also been some patchy fog reported through the northern suburbs out at Parafield and Edinburgh as well. So there is a road weather alert out, but that fog's starting to break up now. Heading for a top of 15 degrees today in the city, 15 also at Elizabeth and Glenelg, and 14 at Mount Barker. And otherwise, a dry and partly cloudy day today. For tomorrow, mostly sunny conditions and a top of 18 degrees, so a little bit warmer. Another cool start, though, down to just 6 degrees in the morning. But yes, then the wet weather returning from Wednesday with the next cold front moving across there. So we've got some rain on the forecast, potentially 6 to 10 millimetres flagged for Adelaide at this stage. Perhaps a bit more up in the hills, 10 to 15 millimetres there, and a top of just 14 degrees. Showers continuing for Thursday, another 2 to 6 millimetres flagged there. And then look, later in the week towards Friday, we've got another low pressure system coming up. So that'll just keep the showers going again. So another 5 to 10 millimetres flagged for Friday at this stage. top of 14 degrees, and Saturday also looking wet as well, another 2 to 6 millimetres there, but starting to ease up on the Sunday, only 1 millimetre flagged there. So enjoy the dry weather while you can.
Beautiful. Thanks for that, Tina.
Good on you, Tina. Let's head to SAPOL. Senior Constable Rebecca Stokes is on the line. Rebecca, I'm sure you'll take us through the official figures shortly, but geez, it feels like we've had a horror run on roads recently, and there's been another fatal at Penberthy in the southeast.
Yes, we have had a run of crashes lately. Emergency services rushed to Grubbed Road at Penberthy after receiving a report of a single vehicle crash just before 9 p.m. last night. Our Country Fire Service crews were the first on scene, and they immediately commenced CPR on the injured driver. Paramedics quickly took over, but sadly the 41-year-old Penberthy man could not be saved. Our major crash investigators attended and examined the scene overnight. The Grubbed Road was closed but has since reopened. And the local man's death is the 46th on South Australian roads so far this year. The road toll at the same time last year was 61. And as I said, he was a local man, so that's just horribly tragic for the community and also for the attending emergency services. It's bad enough having to go to any fatal crash scene, let alone if it's a local person, perhaps even someone that you know.
Well, in a town that small, everyone would know everyone, so just a horrible, horrible story, Rebecca. And I always look at that sign when I'm down the overpass above the Wollonga-Aldinga Road. There's a sign up that says 3 out of 4 country deaths are local people. It would almost always, overwhelmingly be the case. Very sad. Also, a break-in and assault at Mile End.
Yes, just before 3 a.m. this morning, a man and woman wearing balaclavas and armed with a baseball bat forced their way into a home in Cumming Street, Mile End, and assaulted the 2 occupants. They stole a mobile phone before leaving on foot. A 35-year-old woman at the house received facial injuries but didn't go to hospital, and a 20-year-old man also received injuries, but he also declined treatment. Police searched the area with our police dog, Judith, but didn't locate the suspects. And the investigation's in its early stages, but it's not thought to be a random incident. And we're seeking any information from anyone at Mile End this morning. Anyone saw any suspicious people or vehicles hanging around Cumming Street, Mile End in the early hours of this morning, or if they have perhaps CCTV or dash cam in the vicinity, they're asked to contact Crime Stoppers on 1800 333 000, and investigators will be returning to that scene this morning and door knocking the neighbours to see if they saw or heard anything. So if you did and could help, that would be fantastic.
Good on you, Rebecca.
Thanks,
Thank you for that. Senior Constable Rebecca Stokes from SAPOL. The sun is slowly emerging from behind the hills, and it is a foggy morning in Adelaide at the moment, so take care on roads. It has been the last 2 days. There's been a little bit of early morning fog about the place. Gladys Knight, says Ian in Morfett Vale. One of the great front women of all time. We've been talking about Judith Durham. Janice Joplin as well, who gets a nomination. Keep them coming
from
in
Andrew,
on the Automasters text line. Thank you for that, Andrew. Let's head to the US. Tim Lester for 7 News is on the line. Tim, the Chinese have, the recriminations continue for Nancy Pelosi's visit.
Yes, they've turned on essentially what is a practice invasion of Taiwan. They've sent, I think, 14 naval vessels and about 20 aircraft across the Taiwan Strait. Taiwan seemed fit to scramble fighters to try and turn them around, and even China's government-controlled outlets are calling it a simulated attack, or simulating an attack on Taiwan. So China going all out to show the rest of the world how serious it treats what Nancy Pelosi did, the third most senior politician in the US visiting Taiwan, the first major visit of its type in a quarter of a century, essentially to express US support for Taiwan's continuing as a democracy, but has infuriated China big time. And given our political situation in our region, that matters a lot to Australia.
Yeah, it certainly does. Extraordinary scenes. And Tim, also tell us about this historic tax and energy bill that's passed the US Senate this morning.
Yeah, so oddly named the Inflation Reduction Bill. I think that's more about what the White House thinks they need to convince the American people they're doing right now, reducing inflation. In fact, it's a big package of tax and climate change measures to offset climate change. A very big bill and an important win for Joe Biden. He's just got it through the US Senate. There's still a US House vote to be had on it. but the Democrats do have the numbers narrowly, but not as narrowly in the Senate, in the House of Representatives. So the expectation now is this bill will go through, land on the President's desk, and Joe Biden gets to sign it. From Australia's point of view, a couple of months out, 3 months out from the midterm elections, the important thing here probably is, one, they're getting some climate measures through now that matter, but two, also, Joe Biden is getting some political momentum. He's had such trouble, and inflation had emerged as such a negative issue for him. He is starting to have a political win or two. Whether it's enough, who knows, but a little bit of breeze at his back now politically, guys.
Hopefully not too much breeze. He might fall over.
Good on you,
Thanks, Tim.
Good on you, Tim. Tim Lester for 7 News in the US. Can we just pause and reflect in a moment how utterly infantile the scale of the tantrum China are chucking at the moment is, whereby out of a sense of anger and indignation that someone went to a neighbouring country, they're firing millions of dollars of missiles into the sea. Like, just think about...
Oh, it's crazy.
Could you imagine...
It's toys out of the cot on steroids, isn't it?
Could you... Like, this is already some things you can get... There are some things you can't get away with in a democracy. Could you imagine in Australia, the opposition coming out saying, at a time when cost of living pressures are through the roof, your government is firing missiles into the sea. Millions upon millions of dollars of ordnance.
Juvenile is the word. And I actually think the best example of how mentally fragile these commies are is the Snickers bar has become another flashpoint for their rage, because Mars quite innocently put out a promotional video last week saying that Snickers bars are available in South Korea and in Vietnam and in Taiwan. Now, they use the term Taiwan. The really scary thing is, it's like actually at the grassroots level, all these average punters in China who are like total wolf warrior psychos who love the Communist Party, on their chat thing Weibo, they just were up Mars for the rent going, this is disgusting, this is offensive, you have referred to Chinese Taipei as Taiwan. And now Mars, and I think Mars should sniff the coffee on this, they've issued this grovelling statement apologising to Beijing. No offence was caused, just for getting a country's name wrong in the eyes of Beijing. So now Snickers people are, hairy-chested Democrats are saying, that's it, I'm not buying any more Snicker bars. But to your point, juvenile is the word, isn't it?
Yeah. There's a headline in that, isn't there? Surely. China declares war on Mars.
That is a great headline.
Lots of nominations coming through for the greatest front woman in musical history. Angie in Mansfield Park's called in. Morning to you, Angie.
Good morning, guys. How are you?
Good, thanks, Angie.
Okay, I'm going to nominate Karen Carpenter.
Oh, what a great choice.
Yeah, they're amazing. She died way too soon. Yeah.
There you go, Angie.
Yeah, beautiful. That's a bit nostalgic for me. Made my day.
Don't you
Thanks,
reckon?
guys.
Don't you think, Angie? The Carpenters were unfairly ridiculed. Like, people said, they're just sort of saccharine sweet, easy listening. They were superb songwriters.
They were actually superb, and she was amazing. And she never ever. I watched her bio on her many years ago, as you can imagine. And she never really wanted to be. She just got pushed out the front because she was at the back of the drums. Remember that?
Yeah,
she played the drums. Right. And it was just amazing. I think they had some amazing songs. And, when you look at them, I guess in that sort of vein between her and Judith Durham, I think there's just a slither. You could actually just put a little slither between them because they were amazing and beautiful voices.
Hey, Angie, how would you like a new pair of Ugg boots?
Oh, yeah, God, I'd love a new pair of Ugg boots. Thank you.
We've got a $100 Uggs to you voucher coming your way. Thanks for calling in. It was lovely to chat with you. 8223 is the number. You can text us on the Automasters text line. It's Uggs to you weather. I don't know what the peak oil equivalent of Uggs is, but it feels like we're there at the moment.
Mid-July. I think that's the point when we're into August.
Peak
now.
of Uggs.
Yeah, that's the point we go. You start panicking that you don't actually have a pair of Uggs to you Uggs.
Yeah. Well, Angie's got a pair. They do a great job. You want to check them out. Corner of Grange Road and Frederick Road. It's coming up to 2 minutes to 7. 5AA News in just a moment. We'll take you through some of the big stories of the morning. And
I want to talk about Veticare at some point. Are you familiar with this concept?
Veticare?
Yeah.
I don't even
The
know.
Animal Justice Party says if it's good enough for humans to have Medicare.
All right, I'm going to scrap what we were doing after 7. I want to hear more about this. That's coming up next.
With fuel prices the way they are, it's now more important than ever for your car to be fuel efficient. Peak performance means peak efficiency, and that means Automasters. Book now for an Automasters Peak Performance Injector service. Petrol or diesel, your Automasters specialist will clean and service your fuel injection system to ensure your vehicle is running at optimum efficiency. Save fuel, save money. Get the best out of your car. Call 1300 Automasters. Peak performance guaranteed.
Introducing Australia's most wanted. Unanimously judged as Cars of the Year. The fully electric Kia EV6, winner of Wheels Car of the Year. And the Kia Sportage, Drives Car of the Year. To pick your side in this sibling rivalry, visit kia.com.au.
Kia, movement that inspires.
Now, if you're building a new home or renovating, don't forget to include blinds and curtains in your build plans. Talk to the excellent people at Rundle Blinds and Curtains at Kings Park, just down there near the corner of Goodwood and Cross Road. They can save you time and money and give you so many installation options for your window furnishings.
Smart home technologies have exploded for window furnishings. For seamless motorisation and automation, plan for your hardwiring so you can make the most out of these latest innovations. Rundle Blinds and Curtains can recess your blinds and curtains into the ceiling to hide all your ugly componentry like headers, tracking and wiring, and the result looks so modern and sleek.
It's such a wonderful showroom. I've been in there a couple of times. It's great. Rundle Blinds and Curtains, they're Adelaide's premier window furnishings company. Bring your dream home designs to life by booking in a consultation with their expert team.
Contact them on 8274 1210 or their website rundleblinds.com.au.
With fuel prices the way they are, fuel efficiency is more important than ever. And that means a peak performance injector service from Automasters. Ensure your vehicle is running at optimum efficiency. Save fuel, save money. Call 1300 Automasters.
5AA Breakfast is streaming live right now. To watch, simply head online to 5AA Facebook or search 5AA on YouTube. Online, on DAB Digital Radio and on 1395 AM. Talking Adelaide. This is Adelaide's 5AA.
Partly cloudy, 15 today with the 7 o'clock news. I'm Mel Usher.
Turn your dreams into reality with the Hospital Research Foundation Home Lottery. There's more big winners than ever before.
There's been a home invasion at Mile End. A man and a woman wearing balaclavas and armed with a baseball bat forced their way into a home on Cumming Street. The two occupants were assaulted. Intruders stole a mobile phone and ran off. A 35-year-old woman received facial injuries. A 20-year-old man also received injuries. Police say it may not be a random incident. Investigations are continuing. There's been another fatal accident on our roads. Senior Constable Rebecca Stokes says a man was killed in a single vehicle crash at FIVEAA in the southeast last night.
Our Country Fire Service crews were the first on scene and they immediately commenced CPR on the injured driver. Paramedics quickly took over, but sadly the 41-year-old Pathway man could not be saved.
New Omicron variants are being blamed for a surge in COVID reinfections. 4,000 people have tested positive for a second time in the past fortnight. Meantime, modelling is pointing to a peak in daily case numbers every 4 to 5 months. Our last peak was late July, which means another is forecast in late 2022. Qantas is taking multi-skilling to a new level. The airline is reportedly asking its senior executives and managers to leave their desks and work as ground handlers up to 5 days per week for 3 months. Neil Hansford from Strategic Aviation Solutions says it won't fix the problem.
If it's that bad, and we all know nobody can get staff, so I don't know where everybody is, but what you do is you cut your cloth to fit. So you would reduce your capacity and the number of services that you provide in order to fit what you can staff.
The car industry is launching a campaign that could delay Australia's transition to electric vehicles. According to newspapers interstate, a document shared among top motoring executives outlines an aim to limit fuel efficiency standards. Passenger cars sold in 2030 would emit around 98 grams of carbon dioxide compared to Europe's 95 grams. Judith Durham will be given a state funeral in Victoria. Alex Riddell reports from Melbourne.
Victorian Premier Daniel Andrews has confirmed Judith Durham's family has accepted the offer of a state funeral, which will be a chance to recognise her contribution to Australian music. No details have been given on a date or location. The 79-year-old died in Melbourne on Friday night after a battle with lung disease. Born in the Melbourne suburb of Essendon, Judith Durham recorded her first EP at 19 and went on to worldwide fame with the Seekers, selling more than 50 million records. Her bandmates said their lives have forever changed after losing their treasured lifelong friend and shining star.
Now turning to 5AA Sport.
New Mitsubishi Triton with 10-year warranty, 10-year capped price servicing at Agostino Mitsubishi, Nailsworth and Elizabeth.
What's happening in the Commonwealth Games, Tom?
Well, some great news, Mel. Australia's netballers have atoned for an earlier loss to Jamaica in the tournament, beating them in the final to take out gold.
It's all about the Diamonds as they take the 1,000th gold medal for Australia at the Games. It is gold for the Diamonds. Gold, gold, gold. The Diamonds triumph over Jamaica.
Yeah, great result. Audio there thanks to Channel 7. The Aussies winning that final 55-51, and as we just heard, it is their 1,000th ever Commonwealth gold medal, which is fantastic. Well, Adelaide coach Matty Nix has praised his young team and the players following their gutsy 16-point win against West Coast in Perth. Nix especially pleased with the form of forward Darcy Fogarty, who booted 4 goals, including 3 in the decisive final term.
So really pleasing for him, and I've mentioned it every week. It comes off the back of hard work, a lot of work off field for Fog, working on that mental space and getting himself right, and so he's getting everything he deserves at the moment, and he should be really proud of what he's putting out there.
2 other games yesterday, with Sydney taking care of North Melbourne by 38 points, while Brisbane beat Carlton by 33 points. Plenty of action in the English Premier League with defending champions Manchester City off to the perfect start after taking care of West Ham 2-0. Manchester United suffered a shock loss to Brighton, though at home 2-1, while Leicester and Brentford shared the points in a 2-2 draw. And Aussie Nick Kyrgios has just hit the court for the final of the City Open in Washington. He's up against Japan's Yoshihito Nishioka, and he's got an early break of serve and currently leads 3-2. Earlier, Ludmila Samsonova won the women's final, beating Kai Kanepi in 3 sets. And that's the 5AA Sport.
Now checking 5AA traffic.
Roads working really well for the drive-in today. Simply some roadworks to look out for. At Woodville, you'll find construction works on Woodville Road between Port Road and the railway lane. Good lane closure at the moment. At Brooklyn Park, gas connection works. Henley Beach Road near Airport Road. And in the Parklands, Ronald Road is closed. That's for 20s Terrace and Kettleville Terrace for the Illuminate Festival. Busy right now, South Road at Mile End with cameras Northcote Terrace, Medindi and Stephen Terrace at St Peters. Want a delicious meal or snack? Head to Guzmani Gomez for their nacho fries, just $9.90. Yes, nacho fries, just $9.90 at GYG for a limited time only. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
Now the 5AA forecast.
3 out of 4 people never hear back from interviews. Shouldn't people matter more than that? Zoom Recruitment.
15, partly cloudy today, mostly sunny tomorrow, up to 18, and then rain and 14 on Wednesday. Right now it's 8 degrees. More news as it happens on 5AA.
Breakfast on 5AA. David Penberthy and Will Goodings.
Credit Union SA Bonus Savings Account. Open your account and you could be rewarded with bonus monthly interest. Consider the T's and C's.
Six minutes after 7, we're going to put a cap on the Undie Drive after 7:30 today, where we will announce the final number going to Catherine House in the Hutt Street Centre. We'll do that live with Catherine House in the Hutt Street Centre after 7:30. Last count was at 75 grand as of about 9 o'clock on Friday morning, but donations continue to come in. So we'll announce that very, very shortly. David's going to talk to us about a policy position that he's very keen on championing called Veticare.
I'm keen on exposing it. I was keen on implementing it.
We'll do that in a moment. They're coshy a little bit later in the morning as well. Plus, this fantastic giveaway that we've got. Well, I don't know if we've done too many triple-headed giveaways where you can choose which thing you want. Thanks to Foodland, the mighty South Aussies, we've got 5AA's Food, Fuel, or the Footy, where you can get either a $200 food voucher, a $200 fuel voucher, or a night out watching the Showdown in Showdown 52 with a $100 dinner voucher.
How good's that?
You get to choose. We're going to give it away after 8 o'clock today. And the great news is, thanks to the great people at Foodland, there's another version of this that's going to take place during the sports show tonight, which is going to be a historic night because Rowe's going to be joined by Tim Geneva. Huge night for 5AA.
On your Timmy G.
Timmy G. He's fantastic. Love Timmy. And one of the most interesting thinkers about football too. I mean, everyone knows
he is.
big laughing, cracking jokes, Timmy. But you ask him a serious question and he'll give you a serious answer.
I like what you said about when you travelled for, to call port games and the extent to which the current players just refer to him as a sounding board.
You know what I think is important too? There are people that are part of and understand the fabric of football in South Australia, and no disrespect to a new generation of footballer that's maybe come in and played for Port Adelaide or the Crows since 2000. But if they've come over from Victoria or they haven't been part of the history, they don't know what the long story of football is in this state. Tim Geneva does. He's been a huge part of it, and I think that gives you the capacity to talk in depth with a degree of understanding about a range of issues in South Australian footy that I think a lot of other people can't do.
The thing that I find really interesting, and this is one of the reasons why Three Gritted Teeth have got so much respect for the Port Adelaide Football Club, is just through the sheer circumstance of having our sons at the same primary school and becoming friends with Scott Hodges and then doing the book with him, is I've seen those guys together on a number of times socially. And when you see your closest mates, you just automatically click. Like you've got shared histories and you've got your own weird little private nicknames and jokes that have been running for decades. And when you see like Greg Phillips and Scott Hodges and Tim Geneva and Paul Rosonico and all those blokes together, there's this amazing sort of synergy where they act, and this is what I'm talking about, cracking jokes over beers, but they are permanently united by what they went through on the football field, and they've got this. They work like a machine. Like, does that make sense?
Absolutely.
Like you just watch, and like Scott talks about it, like the way Tim, when Tim starts telling a joke, even though you've heard it 50 times, and you know what the punchline's going to be, but the way he just sort of rises up and starts laughing before he's even delivered the punchline, and they all sort of fit together like cogs in a machine. It's interesting.
Absolutely. Lots of texts coming through on the Automasters text line about the great female front people of all time. Stevie Nicks gets a nomination from Jamie, Cilla Black, Wendy, Diana Ross, Dean, thank you. Cole says ABBA had a couple of reasonable front women. Yeah, I think that's probably a reasonable point you make there, Cole.
Mark from Conniver. Conniver might get a mention in the Victorian Regional Commonwealth Opening Games ceremony. Maybe along with Neil, of course, home of the Talking Horse. But Mark has nominated Ann Wilson from Hart.
Good on you, Mark. Thank you.
How do I get you a loan?
Speaking of history, there's been a change to historic car registration rules that'll be something that'll be welcomed by South Australian car lovers. Owners of older cars have a reprieve on registration that means the age of vehicles eligible for this form of a conditional rego was decreased to 25 years, which, this will make you feel old. A car from 1997 now counts as a historic car in South Australia and would mean it's just $80 a year to register it for use. Here's the Adelaide Car Club.
Yeah, we're seeing plenty more. Like I would say half of the people are those represented by that 5-year change, and we've seen a growth in membership as well.
We've actually seen quite an influx of members coming into the club since legislation changed. Just in July alone, our logbook purchases have more than doubled our previous highest month. Previously, you could at a glance tell if a car was a classic or historic vehicle, whereas these days, I guess that line is a little bit more blurred.
Get your logbook, save about $1,000 a year, and get your car out of the garage.
I'm really interested in that. Like, I got my old van's a '94.
Could be a classic car.
Well, is it though? It's a Toyota van. Does it have to be like an MG Roadster type car? Because can I argue them?
No, I think you can.
Or what if you own an early model Commodore? What if you got a Commodore SL from 1983?
Well, here's the thing. It's not as easy as you're getting out of paying, $700-800 on rego a year to be 80. You can only drive it for 90 days or fewer a year.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you'd be good. Your van actually ticks a lot of boxes on this front. I'd be looking into it.
Wow.
And I think, to be honest, I think it is a museum piece.
Well, it
should be preserved.
It's roadworthy. It gets serviced every year.
Should be preserved. You've made some custom additions to it. I think it's a work of art.
That's right.
The Australian War Memorial is being restored and expanded. This is a really lovely story because a couple of the people behind it, people doing it, are young Australian veterans.
This is nothing. This is easy.
Yeah.
It's not too bad.
Construction's pretty easy.
To be on this project with people I was in the Army with and are also from Canberra with, it's incredible. I think it's going to be hard to do something as meaningful as this in the future.
They're very highly skilled and they're highly capable individuals and with a real focus on teamwork.
I struggled when I first left trying to find something I found both challenging, rewarding and that I could immerse myself in. Since starting with this company, it's been all terrific. It's really special to me because I know it tells the story of people like me.
Yeah, it's a nice story. And on a morning where we've been talking a bit about music with the death of Judith Durham over the weekend, there is a big new musical documentary that I reckon you will love, David, that's just come out.
I gave up many years ago trying to analyse this bunch and why it works.
It's not only about music.
The greatest rock and roll band in the world.
No one had seen anything like it.
Music is a resilient thing. God is the only thing we've got that we can trust.
Celebrating the Stones at 60. My Life as a Rolling Stone. Watch on BBC iPlayer.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it's just come out. So
Yeah,
this is...
Was that Keith talking?
Yeah, Keith Richards speaks in it. Mick Jagger speaks in it. Ronnie Wood had their interviews with Ronnie Wood as well. It's narrated by Sienna Miller. It speaks to heaps of other people in the industry too that either cite them as influencers or have a bit of insight into the career of the Stones. But it's about the Stones as the band, but they divide up the series so every hour it is dedicated to a member. So the first episode of the documentary is about Mick Jagger, and then it goes through and everyone gets their go. Mick Jagger talks about how he studied Little Richard, and that's how he learnt to have the stagecraft and presence that he did. Keith Richards says, look, without the Beatles, we wouldn't have existed. Says that they were the thing that inspired the Stones to happen out of the 60s. There's all these little nuggets and revelations that have come out that have people are really buzzing around.
Have you read Keith Richards' biography?
No.
Oh, it's excellent. It's so good. He's so funny. Like, he's just the most self-deprecating bloke. But all the discussion of his relationship with Mick, because like you get the sense that Keith's often just rolling his eyes about Mick's shenanigans and his complicated private life, and just how he's just constantly go, whereas Keith's a bit more just wants to sit there having a drink, playing his guitar.
There's all in the Keith Richards episode. There's all these guitarists from massive bands in subsequent years saying he just became the archetype, the prototype for every wild man guitarist.
The thing when you watch Keith Richards play, and like that night, I actually started crying at one point. I got so moved when they played "Gimme Shelter" at the Adelaide Oval. I was just thinking, like, my God, this song is just transcendently good. But to me, it looks like the guitar's part of his body. Like he's this sort of lizard man where the guitar's merged into his arm. And just the way he holds it, it's just so good to watch him play.
Nice to see another big musical documentary about a big band come out. Nice. One of the nice bits about an era where there's so many services that need to fill content. They got to keep producing stuff like this, and the Beatles one was such a success that there's now a Stones one that is getting some rave reviews as well. Now, talk to us about Veticare.
Right, here we go. So the Animal Justice Party, they want a proposed Veticare scheme introduced in South Australia with the aim of easing strain on pet owners in the animal welfare system. They've approached the Victorian government to fund a Medicare-style program, which they're calling Veticare, basically what it means is the same as going to the GP, bulk billing GP. It means that the scheme would allow pet owners to access free or subsidised veterinary services at public clinics. So you'd have taxpayer-funded clinics.
So people without pets are paying for people with pets to get...
Well, I presume so. I presume that's the way it would work. I mean, if it's Medicare, it's basically a direct tax that you pay, and the more you earn, like, you can get kicked up into the second tiered Medicare levy. So it's been canvassed by the Andrews government in Victoria. I don't know if Stephen Mulligan's listening. You could probably simple yay or nay to this one with a text message would suffice. But now they're saying that South Australia should do it. I don't think I've ever heard a dumber idea in my life. I mean, at what point does government stop doing everything? If you want to go and buy a cat, and then you find that, the cat needs tins of whiskers and kitty litter, and maybe it needs a new bell, and you're not flush that week, shouldn't you have thought that through? Or is that where the government has to step in? Or we all have to step in through our taxes because you want a cat?
I haven't read the UN Charter on Human Rights recently, but the right to own a pet, I don't recall being
The right to bear pets.
a fundamental human right.
The right to pet bears.
All right, let's check traffic. Until your new BMW arrives, Adelaide BMW will help keep your current vehicle fueled. T's and C's apply.
Thanks, Will. Roads working really well today. No great hassles, which is excellent. Simply some roadworks to keep in mind. At Brooklyn Park, gas connection works there. Hindley Beach Road near Airport Road. That does affect both directions in the morning. At Woodville, construction works are continuing. Woodville Road between Port Road and the railway line. Got a lane out of action there at the moment. And in the Parklands, Rundle Road is closed between East Terrace and Kettleville Terrace for the Illuminate Festival. You might not be able to rely on the morning traffic, but you can rely on Snap. Over 50,000 businesses across Australia rely on Snap for all things print plus more. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
Huge news, Adelaide sports fans. Alberton's favourite son, Tim Ginniver, now joins Stephen Rowe.
If you were to put on a sports show on 5AA in the afternoon, you'd get a Port and a Crow in.
Sparks are set to fly.
You wear your heart on your sleeve like my good self. How could that possibly go wrong, Timmy G?
Timmy G joins Rowe on the 5AA Sports Show, weekdays from 4.
It was like a squealing seagull for a chip on the outside.
On Adelaide's 5AA.
Life-changing moments can happen in many ways. Purchase a ticket in the Hospital Research Foundation Home Lottery and you could be our next winner. The $3 million grand prize in Somerton Park comes fully furnished and is just one of thousands of prizes to be won. Every ticket sold creates a better future for all South Australians by supporting our healthcare heroes. Join the fight and get yours at homelottery.com.au. Licence M14227.
Gliderol has manufactured and installed garage doors in SA since 1974, and their commitment to quality is as strong as ever. So if it's time for a new look for your house or time to upgrade, why not now? Order a new roller door, sectional door or customer designer door with operator by December 30th and you'll receive a free premium operator upgrade and 2 bonus handsets. For a free measure and quote and helpful advice, search Gliderol today. Retail customers only, T's and C's apply.
Get saving this month at City Discount Tyres. When you buy 3 Wild Peak AT3W all-terrain tyres, you'll get the 4th tyre free. The perfect tyre for your next adventure. City Discount Tyres are a proud multi-tyre and wheel brand retailer offering great service at great prices. Visit citydiscounttyres.com.au to find your nearest store. City Discount Tyres. We're driven by value.
City Discount Tyres.
Bit cold right now for a dip in the pool, but unless you're David Iceberger Penberthy over there, who broke all sorts of records last week.
Yeah.
But look, believe
the record for the shortest time spent in the ocean.
You got in, my friend. You can always claim that. But you'll be kicking yourself if when Christmas and summer comes around and the family is standing in front of a sprinkler instead of a pool.
Only weeks until we unfurl the cover on our excellent new Rainwise pools. And I'll tell you, it's the best decision we ever made because it means that at the first hint of warm weather, our mates, our friends, our family, we're all going to be able to enjoy every second of summer poolside.
Rainwise is a family company with real family values, and they've been consistently winning awards for their workmanship, service and price.
Absolutely. They're fantastic people to deal with. And look, they've got the silverware to prove it. Rainwise just took out the Sparza Gold Award for excellence in fiberglass pools, up to $60,000. Their pools are genuinely affordable. You can be confident that you're dealing too with an extremely reputable company.
So don't wait, because the longer you wait, the longer it takes. Make sure you're set for summer and you're swimming this Christmas. Visit rainwisepoolsadelaide.com.au. That's rainwisepoolsadelaide.com.au.
When you're gone, who gets your vintage bottle top collection? The cricket bat you scored your first ton with? Or that precious family heirloom that's been handed down from generation to generation? If you don't have a will, you'll never know. Donlan Lawyers specialise in wills and estate planning. From the simplest to the most complex, one thing is certain. You can trust Donlan Lawyers to help protect your wishes. For wills and estate planning, visit donlanlawyers.com.
9 News has the experience to break the news. Made in Adelaide for Adelaide. 9 News.
Breakfast on 5AA. David Penberthy and Will Goodings.
Whatever you're saving for, get there quicker with a Credit Union SA bonus savings account. Please consider the T's and C's.
22 minutes after 7. Andrew in Rosedale's a big fan of the changes to the classic car registration. He says, I've already got a couple of proper classic cars on historic rego, and I think the change is great. When we retired our 96 VS Holden Berliner, we couldn't help bring ourselves to sell it. It's in great condition, but virtually worthless. It's just been sitting in our garage since. Now I can at least use it on runs when the weather is bad or at night, and a car that's a little safer or its climate controllers are more practical. It really is a modern classic, and good 90s cars are getting rare. Well, it makes sense. It makes sense. Just cutting down from $80 from a full rego makes a huge difference.
Yeah, absolutely. Big saving.
Absolutely. 8223 0000 is our number. You can text us on the Automasters text line at any time. Reminder, that magnificent 5AA Food, Fuel, or the Footy prize is coming up after 8 o'clock today, where you can choose to get either $200 worth of food, fuel, or a night out at the Showdown with $100 dinner voucher in your back pocket as well. All thanks to the great people at Foodland, with more stores close to home and everyday low prices. Great food lives at Foodland, the mighty South Aussies. There'll be another one of those prizes that'll be given away in the sports show tonight, and it's a big night for the sports show because, Rowie, thanks to North Point Toyota, you are going to be joined by a new partner in crime. Stephen, you there?
Penberthy and Will, good morning. Yes, they're calling it the... Yeah, you there, Penberthy and Will?
Gotcha.
Got me? Got me?
Gotcha.
Hello?
We got you.
You got me?
No, I think there's a huge delay, I suspect. So let's get Stephen Rowe on the phone. I reckon we'll do that, Sam. We'll just ring him up because the app, the vagaries of 4G.
Hey, you ask and sometimes you get. Steve Mulligan, the Treasurer's texted in.
Oh, good.
Just got a message about Medicare for Pets thing. Rest assured, this is not a priority for us.
Now, that's good government.
That is good government.
That is good government.
That is absolute whip smart record time. But the Treasurer says, speaking to the Feds about making sure we've got a better functioning Medicare and healthcare system for humans rather than bulk billing for budgerigars. Thank you for that, Treasurer.
Thank you for that, Treasurer. All right, we're going to try this again. Rowie, good morning to you.
Take two, Penberthy and Will, good morning. Yeah, it is the start of a new dawn today for the 5AA Sports Show. For the very first time, a Port man will sit in the, let's call it the driver's seat of the bus. Let's hope he doesn't pring it. Timmy G from 4 to 6. And I reckon I might be sitting in the back seat with my feet up smoking a Scooby. How about that? That'll go down real well.
Tell us a bit, Rowie, about your relationship with Timmy G. Like you're both similar sort of blokes, knockabout style, but he bleeds black and white. You're a mad crow. Do you think you're going to have moments of tension?
Well, look, Timmy's authentic. He's real. He's genuine. He's who he is. He is what you see. I'm very similar, and you're right. He's black and white. I'm more red and blue than Crows, but I'm Nord, born and bred. He's Port Adelaide, born and bred. Our careers tracked all but identically. Our last games were both the 97 grand final, where we happened to beat them by 73 points. So, but in that journey, he won, 7 or 8 grand finals. I played in 5 losing prelims. So, yeah, there's a bit of synergy there. He'll keep me honest, I'll keep him honest, but we're only custodians of this sports show. The history of that sports show is quite amazing, you know, from the KG days and, you know, through to Cornsey, and then I've been lucky enough to sit in the chair for a number of years. So I think it's right, I think it's great, I think it's brilliant that he gets to sit in there representing all Port people, all footy people, and he does transcend Timmy, unlike me. I mean, I don't know many Crows, Nord people that don't think he's just an absolute ripper. So I'm hoping that'll help, because clearly I've ran the show into the ground and now he can pick it back up on his big shoulders.
Excellent.
Hey?
What did you make of the footy of the weekend?
No pressure, Timmy. Port have lost 4 of their last 5. I didn't realise that. They've got Eston at Marvel, then the Showdown. Oh boy, wow, I'm just sensing with the changing mood of what's coming out of CEO Matthew Richardson's mouth, even Koshy, I can't wait to speak to you guys, to speak to Koshy the Savo. Even with Ken walking out of that presser, they need to finish strongly. They lost to Collingwood, Geelong, Melbourne, Freo. Top 8 teams in the last 5 games. They can't lose the last 2. God, they got blown away against the Tigers in that third quarter, didn't they? You know what they look like to me? They looked punch drunk. Threw their best punch, but the next bloke just went bang. Nah, they got to finish strongly, or, you know what, I'll say it, I'm fearful for Ken.
I think rightly so. Rightly so. It's going to become
Absolutely.
a huge issue if things pan out as badly as they could over the next fortnight.
Yeah,
I
okay,
don't
well, they
think
might have to start
that's
rattling
not-
some cans.
That's not beating it up either. I think that is
Nah.
totally in step with what Port fans will be thinking.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I'm a Ken man, but they lose the last two. Oh boy, there's some decisions need to be made. But I think this will be all on Ken. If he wants to stay, he stays. And I think if he goes, it'll be his call. Hey, the Crows yesterday beat West Coast. They chalked up their 7th win for the year. We called that together, Will. Again, it was a total team effort. Laird's 200th superb. Fogg's last quarter. Boy, is he blossoming. But the day did belong to Josh Kennedy. He retired an Eagle great with 8 goals. It was the JK show, and unashamedly, we got in behind him. We were hoping he'd get 10 and the Crows win. He got 8 and the Crows won, and we were pretty happy.
Yeah, there's no complaints there. It made it a great spectacle, Rowie. Good luck tonight. We'll all be listening.
I need all the luck I can get. Thank you, Will, and thank you, Pembo. Bye for now.
Cheers, mate. Stephen Rowe. Thanks to North Point Toyota. Book your next service online at North Point Toyota. To win the cost back, it is the North Point way.
Uncle Mark, geez, he was a character.
He was larger than life. Remember that bright yellow Holden of his?
The HQ GTS, great car, when it was running.
Yeah.
And those fishing stories he'd tell up the river.
And did you notice that the one that got away got bigger every year?
On the bright side, I'll finally get my trailer back. The bugger's had it for 6 months.
To Uncle Mark, one of a kind.
A unique life deserves a distinctive funeral. distinctivefunerals.com.au.
Now, Hyundai Nailsworth, they don't think that a test drive is good enough for you. They'd rather you took a life drive. I went out there and saw Aaron a couple of times last year and did some life driving. It's great. What it means is you call in, you pick any car you like, and you do life in it for an hour. Don't just go driving around the block. Pick the kids up from school, go shopping, take a run up the freeway, take it home to show it off to your family, make sure it fits under your carport, because that's what life is. Now, Hyundai Nailsworth, they're the only dealership in SA that strictly sell brand new Hyundais. And a big thanks to Aaron, who I mentioned before. They kindly donated $1,000 to our Undies Drive, which we've renamed the Hyundai's Drive in their honour. So call in, take a life drive, only at Hyundai Nailsworth, 147 Main North Road, Nailsworth.
There's something you should know about SportsMed. We don't just provide knee, hip and shoulder care to elite athletes. Every day, we treat patients who simply want to get play with the kids fit, brisk walk fit or gardening fit. And having our clinic, hospital and specialists all based together at Stepney makes getting care for your joint pain and injuries, from diagnosis to rehabilitation, even easier. So get back to doing what you love. Speak with your GP for a referral. sportsmed.com.au.
This is Adelaide's 5AA.
Partly cloudy, 15 today with the 7:30 news. I'm Mel Usher.
Your ticket to live mortgage-free in Somerton Park is here, thanks to the Hospital Research Foundation Home Lottery.
Major crash were called to Pathway in the state's southeast last night. A single-car crash was reported just before 9. The 41-year-old local man passed away at the scene. It takes the state road toll for the year to 46. 2 people were injured in a home invasion at Mile End early this morning. Senior Constable Rebecca Stokes says the pair who broke into the home on Cumming Street stole a mobile phone before getting away on foot.
Just before 3 a.m. this morning, a man and woman wearing balaclavas and armed with a baseball bat forced their way into a home in Cumming Street, Mile End, and assaulted the 2 occupants. A 35-year-old woman at the house received facial injuries but didn't go to hospital, and a 20-year-old man also received injuries, but he also declined treatment.
COVID reinfection is on the rise in SA. More than 10,000 South Australians have tested positive twice, 4,000 of those in recent weeks. And modelling shows we're recording a peak in case numbers every 4 to 5 months, the most recent peak coming late last month. Qantas is reportedly asking its senior executives and managers to leave their desks and work as ground handlers up to 5 days per week for 3 months. An aviation expert says it would be a band-aid fix for their staff shortages. Neil Hansford from Strategic Aviation Solutions says the airline needs to make some hard decisions.
We've got through the school holiday period and it's only getting marginally better. So
So the solution is that maybe you've got to be reducing the services on offer. Now, that will have the flow-on effect of higher fares.
The Albanese government will push for a significant pay rise for workers in the aged care sector. Lucy Gray reports from Canberra.
The Fair Work Commission is weighing up whether to offer a pay rise to more than 200,000 aged care staff. Labor will use a submission to the Industrial Relations Umpire today to advocate for the increase. A figure won't be included in the government's recommendation, but it has committed to pay for whatever rise is ordered. The unions are pushing for a 25% bump, 4 times the rate of inflation.
New documents supposedly show the car industry is trying to delay Australia's transition to electric vehicles. A campaign by the Federal Chamber of Automotive Industries is pushing for an existing voluntary emissions scheme to be adopted as the national standard. Australia Institute Climate and Energy Program Director Richie Merzian says voluntary standards are lax and riddled with loopholes.
There are a number of legacy car manufacturers that want to keep us in the space of inefficient vehicles so they can send their gas guzzlers here. If Australians had adopted a mandated, robust fuel efficiency standard, then we would have saved almost $6 billion over the last 6 years.
Now turning to 5AA Sport.
10-year warranty and 10-year capped price servicing at Agostino Mitsubishi, Nailsworth and Elizabeth.
Here's Tom Wren.
Thank you, Mel. The Crows will head home winners today after beating West Coast in Perth to wrap up round 21 in the AFL. Will Hamill was involved in a heavy collision and came off the ground in the second quarter. He was subbed out under the league's concussion protocols and will be monitored. Eagles veteran Josh Kennedy booted 8 goals in his farewell game, but it still wasn't enough as they lost. Captain Luke Shuey says whilst it didn't go to script for them, it was still a special performance.
I mean, it wasn't far off the fairy tale. He kicked a big bag and moved up on the all-time goal-kicking list. But, yeah, very fitting to see him go out like that and show why he's been one of the greats to do it, but disappointing not to get over the line for him.
To athletics, Aussie Peter Bowl has won silver in the men's 800 metres at the track and field at the Commonwealth Games. Kelsey Lee Barber took gold in the women's javelin final, and fellow Aussie Mackenzie Little took silver. Georgie Baker took out gold in the women's road race cycling event, her 3rd gold medal of the Birmingham Games. And Australia won gold in the men's beach volleyball, women's T20 cricket, and also picked up gold in the netball with the Diamonds beating Jamaica by 4 in the final. Well, golf has a new star with South Korea's Tom Kim winning this morning's Wyndham Championship in North Carolina by 4 shots. It comes off the back of a stunning 9-under final round, the 20-year-old nicknamed Thomas the Tank Engine finishing in style.
Do it for Thomas the Tank Engine. Oh, he has. Thank you. There's your new champion.
Audio thanks to Fox. He's the youngest ever player to win the event. And Aussie Nick Kyrgios is off to the perfect start in the final of the City Open in Washington, taking out the first set against Yoshihito Nishioka 6-4. And that's the 5AA Sport.
Now checking 5AA traffic.
Hassle-free running today. All the majors accident and breakdown free, which is always nice. Simply some roadworks to keep in mind today. Woodville, you'll find construction works there. Woodville Road between Port Road and the railway line does get slow throughout the morning. Brooklyn Park gas connection works there. Hindley Beach Road near Airport Road. And in the Parklands, Rundle Road is closed between East Terrace and Kettleville Terrace. That's for the Illuminate Festival. Starting to get busy South Road at Mile End with the camera. May Terrace at Brooklyn Park. Elvis is coming. Directed by Baz Luhrmann and starring Austin Butler and Tom Hanks. Don't miss Elvis' Fast Track to Your Home, you to buy and rent on digital. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
Now the 5AA forecast.
3 out of 4 people never hear back from interviews. Shouldn't people matter more than that? Zoom Recruitment.
15, partly cloudy today, mostly sunny tomorrow 18, Wednesday rain and 14, Thursday 17. Right now it's 7 degrees. More news as it happens on 5AA.
It's one hell of a ute, the LDV T60 Max 4x4 diesel with 160 kilowatts from just $34,990 for ABN holders. Visit a dealer today. LDV, bring it on. T's and C's and exclusions at ldvautomotive.com.au.
I don't really like talking on radio, but I do like talking about our cows at the Fleurieu Milk Company. And I love helping support SA dairy farmers. They're a great bunch with beautiful families. They work day and night to produce the best milk in SA. So when you're in the supermarket, look for Fleurieu Milk Company. South Australian and proud of it. I'm getting good at this.
Fluorio Milk Company, celebrating 15 years of SA business. fluoriomilkco.com.au.
3 words your friends and family never like hearing.
We're moving house.
Well, you can always rely on budget truck and car rentals to help out. From 3-ton moving trucks you can drive on a car licence to vans and moving trailers. Budget car and truck rentals make it easy as to move house. Do it right in half the time and save money with budget car and truck rentals. Call 13 27 27.
5AA Breakfast is streaming live right now. To watch, simply head online to 5AA Facebook or search 5AA on YouTube. Breakfast on 5AA. David Penberthy and Will Goodings.
Whatever you're saving for, get there quicker with a Credit Union SA bonus savings account. Please consider the T's and C's.
22 minutes to 8, John Blake before 8 o'clock. The Premier of South Australia, Peter Malinauskas, after 8 o'clock today. Also, the host of Channel 7 Sunrise program, David Koch, will join us. But we've also been joined in the studio by a giant check, and that can only mean good things. Giant checks, in my experience, are generally fun. And today they come at the culmination of a really fun week at 5AA, where, of course, we had the Undie Drive all last week for Catherine House and the Hutt Street Centre. So it's lovely to be joined in the 5AA Breakfast studio by Tim O'Callaghan from the Hutt Street Centre and J. Cooper from Catherine House. Good morning to both of you.
Morning. How are you guys?
We're good. We're coming in today on a bit of a high because we love doing the Undie Drive. And I've got to admit, we're a little bit worried given cost of living and inflation and all of the interruptions to business through COVID, like the sort of perfect storm at the moment that would have mitigated against people donating as much. Logic would suggest that we wouldn't have made as much money as we did, but we did.
Yeah, absolutely. I think, empathy plays a big part in this, particularly in winter. People sit back and think, gosh, that could be me quite easily. It could be me. And we talk about that, homelessness can happen to anyone. Yeah. And an event can happen in your life and then, that you fall into homelessness. So I think people can empathise with that and that's really shown because they've decided, if I'm in a position to donate or my business can do something, I'm going to do it. And they came out in a huge force over the last week. So we're just so thankful.
Yeah, it's just amazing the way the community gets behind homelessness, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely.
It's just fantastic.
Yeah.
And you guys have done such a great job in driving it. Thanks very much.
Yeah.
No, it was a lot of fun.
And we're just the end of the the sausage making machine. There's a hell of a lot of work that's been done by some wonderful people here at 5AA as well. But I want to ask you, J. Lee, something that we were talking about just during the break that I think it will be of interest to our listeners and all the wonderful listeners that donated and the businesses too.
Yeah.
And that was that you had a lot of your clients listening.
Yeah, so all throughout the week we had encouraged our staff and our clients to listen, and the reason why we encourage our clients to listen is so that they have an understanding that whilst they're going through probably what is the toughest time of their lives, they have this community of people that are actually supporting them and thinking about them. And so I think for a lot of the women that really kind of blows their mind because they often don't feel that they're worthy of that support. They often feel great shame when they come into our service. So I think for them being able to listen throughout the week, was amazing for them actually to see that they've got this community that really wants to help and support them at a time that they need.
Yeah, they just don't feel that they're worth it, do they?
No,
and this is a great way to show them that they are worth it.
Absolutely, they are. And we do that from an organisation perspective through Catherine House and the Hutt Street Centre. But I think for them to see the greater community just, it's just been amazing.
I think the nice thing about it is that hopefully we've moved beyond blaming people for being homeless. Hopefully as a community we don't look at people who are on the street and go, well, what have you done wrong? There used to be that really unpleasant sort of judgmental tone to it. And I think now as a society, we're more mature. We understand that mental health can be a driver. We understand that domestic violence can be a driver. And we also understand that the sudden sort of imposition of poverty can be a driver.
Yep, they say we're all only one step away from homelessness, so we've got to keep that in mind.
Yeah. There's a good speech the new member for Boothby made, I thought, in her maiden speech to Parliament a couple of weeks ago, Louise Miller-Frost from St Vinny's background, making that very point.
Yeah, previous Catherine House CEO as well.
That's right, of course.
But knows it very well. And, it's an interesting point that you make, but only 7% of all people experiencing homelessness are actually sleeping rough. So what that actually means of, a lot of other people are actually, and particularly from a women's perspective, they're sleeping in their cars, they're staying in unsafe relationships, they're couch surfing. So there's so many people that are actually homeless that aren't actually even seen in our community.
Yeah.
And we're now getting about 100 new people a month. So it's really growing.
Absolutely.
And more than a third of them are women.
Yeah. And we're certainly seeing numbers in terms of referrals come through are doubling from the month before. And the rental crisis is having a huge impact of that. And then, you've got COVID over the last 2 years as well. So it's just factor on factor that's contributing to both of our services being really under the pump as to what we need to provide.
Yeah.
Now, those watching on the Credit Union SA Facebook and YouTube live stream will note the segment has somewhat descended into high farce because I don't have the total written down anywhere but on the giant check.
That's a blank check.
So I've got to read it off the giant check to see how much was raised.
And it is a giant check. It's a metre and a half long.
It's a metre long, and we don't have it written anywhere else. So if you just excuse me for a moment. In fact, let me do it this way. Show a bit of camera awareness.
Oh, wow.
The number is $75,264. It is an undie drive record, and it is our pleasure on behalf of FIVEAA to present it to you both for Catherine House in the Hutt Street Centre.
Thank you so much. We are so thrilled to be able to receive something like that.
And look, huge thanks. We were just chatting before outside, Tim and Jay Lee, and we were saying, you've got your AHAs, you've got your Cochranes, big businesses that through their generosity and the generosity of their members made some whopping donations. But then, like I mentioned, the lady who popped down to Henley to see me make a half-wood of myself jumping into the sea and just said, here's $10 left over from just buying my coffee. All those little donations helped us get to such a big number.
Absolutely. And I think, again, it's that ability of realising, you know what, I've got that $10 so I can give it.
Yeah.
And that's incredible.
And it's a credit to you guys, both of you as well, and the work you do with your charities, that you just need to say the name and people are willing to donate.
Yeah.
That they are instantly aware of two things. One, what you do and who you're helping, and two, that you're doing an excellent job in it. And that's makes our job really easy, because the sales pitch for the Undie Drive is it's Catherine House in the Hutt Street Centre.
Yeah.
And they're the magic words.
Yeah,
well, I know we'll both put it to great use.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. This is going to help incredibly. I think for both of us, we have both ran out recently of jocks and socks and bits and pieces. So this is going to be a great help. So we have already got some of our wonderful volunteers lined up. I think, Dave, you met them at our Government House function that said they're ready and raring to go out and buy some more to kickstart it, which is great. And then as we need more throughout the year, then our volunteers will go out.
Yeah, most of us get to go through our drawers and we can pull out a dry pair of undies and a clean pair of undies. But if you're sleeping rough, you don't get that chance. No. And so when they come into Hutt Street Centre, they come into Catherine House. They one of the basic human dignities is to be able to give them a clean new pair of undies.
So, absolutely.
So this is fantastic.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Well, thank you guys. Thank you so much, and thanks for coming in too. It's nice to wrap it all up the way we did just then. So, and well done to everybody who donated. We can't thank you enough.
Great. Well, thank you so much.
Thank you, and thanks to the listeners. It's been fantastic.
Amazing. Yeah, thank you.
And Turf Farm.
Yeah, absolutely.
Of course.
Yeah, amazing.
So
many amazing sponsors throughout the week as well. People jumping on board.
Excellent.
All right.
Lovely.
Thank you. Great to have you in. Let's check traffic.
You.
Until your new BMW arrives, Adelaide BMW will help keep your current vehicle fueled. T's and C's apply.
Thanks, Will. Roads looking really good. No hassles, which is excellent. Simply a few roadworks to keep in mind. Brooklyn Park, you find gas connection works there. Henley Beach Road near Airport Road. It's affecting both directions. In the Parklands, Rundle Road is closed between East Terrace and Kettleville Terrace for the Illuminate Festival. And at Woodville, construction works on Woodville Road between Port Road and the railway line. Busy at the moment, Port Road at Theberton with cameras May Terrace, Brooklyn Park, and Tablesville Road at Glenelg North. Battery World is giving you a chance to win one of 4 $25,000 cash prizes. Purchase any car battery to be in the draw. Battery World, powering Aussies for 25 years. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
5AA's Business Lounge with Leith Forrest.
So in the Business Lounge today, I'm joined by an inspirational man who is a big fan of Arbor Vitae. Welcome, Peter Wilson.
G'day, Leith.
Hey, I know you've been using Arbor Vitae since 2018. Tell us about it.
It has completely changed my life. It's like liquid gold to me. My joint pain has completely disappeared. My mobility is so much better, and the reduction in inflammation is amazing.
and your mobility has returned. It's given you your life back, and I believe you've ticked off some big things on your bucket list.
Well and truly, to set myself the challenge of walking to the top of Mount Kosciuszko, the highest mountain top of Australia. It was a challenge that prior to Arbor Vitae was literally a dream. I had walked it when I was 17 or 18 years of age, but there was no way that in my 50s I would have entertained the thought had it not been for Arbor Vitae.
Peter, I'm so glad Arbor Vitae has given you back your life. Arbor Vitae is available in chemists and health food stores all over Adelaide. For a full list of stockists or to buy it online direct, go to arborvitae.com.au. That's arb or vitae.com.au. Or you can give the Arbor Vitae team a call and place your order over the phone on 1300 879 863. That's 1300 879 863. Always read the label and follow the directions for use.
Hi, Bronte Manuel from Toop and Toop. We've been helping Adelaide buyers and sellers for almost 40 years. That's why so many South Australians look to us for real estate advice. Right now, we're working with 5,697 buyers in Unley, 5,275 in Prospect and 4,864 in Wattle Park, all searching for their perfect property in these specific suburbs. If you're thinking of selling and would like to know how many buyers we're working with in your suburb, go to toop.com.au.
Now, on everyone who's sitting at home listening at the moment or driving in a car, not if you're in a car obviously, but if you're sitting at home, to close your eyes and picture this scene. You've just signed a building contract, right? This is the most exciting time in your life. You've got work underway on your dream home. You're pumped. Everything's going beautifully until one day. Crunch. Your builder hits rock whilst digging your footings, David. Nightmare.
Yeah. There's a way to avoid this, and it involves talking to the excellent people at Rossdale Homes. But if you're in that position, what does happen next? Well, most builders will send you a nice letter. Then they'll bump up their price with a variation.
Well, this is where Rossdale Homes come in, because they're not most builders. Not Rossdale Homes. They're lifesavers. When you sign their absolute fixed price contract, there are no hidden costs or nasty surprises. The clue is in the title. Fixed. The price is fixed, and you can trust them to deliver on that. That's why it's the industry's strongest contract.
And look, that's what it comes down to. When you hear people having horror stories, it's because they haven't been able to lock the price in. So you do it, and do it with Rossdale Homes. They're fantastic homes too. Before you build, talk to Adelaide's most trusted builder, Rossdale Homes, because trust is a must.
An average of 83 people die on Australian rail lines every year. Ask yourself, do I pay attention when I cross rail lines? The answer might surprise you. Stand back, look up, stay rail safe. A message from the Government of South Australia.
5AA Breakfast is streaming live right now. To watch, simply head online to 5AA Facebook or search 5AA on YouTube. Breakfast on 5AA. David Penberthy and Will Goodings.
Credit Union SA bonus savings account. Open your account and you could be rewarded with bonus monthly interest. Consider the T's and C's.
Premier of South Australia coming up after 8 o'clock today, as is our 5AA Food, Fuel or the Footy competition, where you can win one of three prizes. You get to choose, is the beauty of it. $200 on food, bang, you get it. You want $200 on fuel, that goes a long way. Or you can go, stuff it. I need a night out. I'm going to go to the footy. You can go to Showdown 52 with a $100 dinner voucher. Have a great night out. The choice is yours, thanks to the excellent people at Foodland, the mighty South Aussies, with more stores close to home and everyday low prices. Great food lives at Foodland. That's coming up after 8 o'clock. Right now, it's time for John Blake, thanks to Aussie Fast Transport Solutions, interstate freight distribution, warehousing and local Adelaide couriers. Call Aussie Fast on 13 13 64.
Yes, Steph.
Good morning, Premier. Tom Coutson-Tonus is here to see you.
All right.
Shall I check for any outstanding traffic infringements before I send him in?
No, it's okay. Send him in.
Some people just can't move on. You can go in. That's bloody annoying.
Come in, Tom.
Hello, Peter.
Tom, what's going on?
Whoa, what isn't going on? Albo's getting a bit of flack for his Aboriginal voice referendum.
Yeah, I'm not sure he's handling that very well.
Well, I think he's got a plan.
Really?
Yeah, he doesn't want the referendum to get up.
What?
No, he's counting on it failing.
Well, why would he be counting?
Because it makes him look good.
In whose eyes?
Well, anyone who thinks it's a good idea to give the Aboriginal people a voice in Parliament.
Well, some might argue they already have a voice in Parliament by having Aboriginal people in Parliament.
Yeah, I know, but some people think that's not enough.
Okay, so how does that make him look good?
By letting the people people decide.
Okay.
But not telling them the details of what they're voting for before they vote for it.
How can people vote for something if they don't know what's...
Exactly, so they'll vote no.
Then Albo can say, well, at least I
tried.
That's brilliant.
Yeah, who would have thought? It's a bit like the Greens pretending they want zero emissions.
Don't the Greens want zero emissions?
No, of course they don't. You can't run a country without emissions, and besides, we hardly have any emissions. So
They sound like they want zero emissions.
Of course, but like Albo, they know we can't achieve it, but it appeals to their voters who would prefer to live in a tent with no electricity.
John Setka's ex-wife says I should give back the $125,000 the union gave us before the election.
Well, you can't do that.
No.
Because that would mean you still got the money.
Yeah.
And didn't need it to win the election after all.
No, I'm really struggling.
Well, that comes with the office, Peter.
No, I mean, I'm struggling with you being the voice of reason.
Yeah, it's a bit confusing, isn't it?
More from John Blake after 8:30 when we go behind closed doors. Mavis in Happy Valley's called in. Morning to you, Mavis.
Hi, Will. How you going? All right?
Yeah, I'm good.
Yeah, I just about the the Veticare thing. I just, as a matter of interest, I come from London, England, and after the war there in the early 50s, when I was a kid, vets were all free. Never had to pay to take your animals. Yeah, and that was tough times. But yeah, we had a dog, and it's just a matter of interest because the other day on the radio you had Lonsdale Shelter. They've got 1,000 animals in there that, people. I don't know if you've taken the dog to the vet or someone to the vet. I tell people, be a vet, don't be a doctor.
Yeah, absolutely. The bills are insane. I wasn't aware of the situation in the UK, Mavis. Thank you for that. Interesting intel.
I had one of my teeth pulled out, and so did Zorro, our cavoodle, around similar times. Mine...
Different clinics?
Yeah, different clinics. But I thought next time the dog needs to get one of its teeth pulled out, I'm going to go to my dentist and hold the dog under my shirt. Because it was about 3 times more expensive getting the dog's tooth done. Amazing, isn't it?
That is remarkable. I wonder what they'd say to you.
Pet dentistry. That's where the big moolah is, apparently.
David, you haven't been eating a lot of chum again, have you?
Hey, give me a schmacko. I didn't come here for a lecture.
Time to talk real estate. Susanna Toop from Toop and Toops on the line. Morning to you, Susanna.
Good morning, guys.
Now, spring is only a few weeks ago. Well, that's a nice sentence to say. Are you expecting to see some more properties coming onto the market?
Look, we are. I mean, despite what's been happening with interest rates, we do expect more properties to be coming onto the market for spring. Typically, as you know, that is the sort of much busier period of time. A lot more properties do come on the market, and we expect this year will be no different. And I think the other thing is that prices are holding here in Adelaide, so sellers can still take advantage of that growth spurt that we've had over the last 18 months. So I think that that's also giving people a lot of confidence as well. And investors are also expected to be even more active over the coming months as we sort of head into spring and through the second half of the year. And I think that what's happening there is that they're very much taking a long-term approach to investing and buying property, and so they're absolutely got Adelaide front and centre in terms of where they're choosing to invest, and that's because SA is one of the only 2 states that has positive net migration, and we're also expected to have capital growth in the next 5 to 10 years. So I think that is going to give people a lot of confidence sort of going to the second half of the year. Obviously rates, we've had a lot of hikes over the last little while, but I do think that we certainly should see more property coming onto the market as we head through spring. And for rentals as well, we're just starting to see a little bit more property come onto the market for rent, which I think is, and hopefully will provide a little bit of relief for tenants who have been searching for so long. So we are sort of hoping that that will continue as well into the second half and, through spring as we head to the end of the year.
Well, that'd be great news for renters because it hasn't been this tough in living memory. It's just been a remarkable year for people trying to find places to live. So more property means more access for them, hopefully, Susanna.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I just saw the latest vacancy rate from Domain that's just come out, and we were talking how low it was at 0.3. It's now come out at 0.2 for July. So, I mean, we're talking incredibly low vacancy rates. And as we've talked about, it's just because it's been month on month at that level. So, look, let's hope that more properties coming on will just alleviate some of that pressure that's been there for so long. And look, I think the other trend that we are seeing as well, which might provide a little bit of relief, is that we are starting to see some tenants decide to break their lease early, which I think in other markets might be a little bit like, oh, what does that mean? But I think what we're seeing is people who have been here through the COVID times you know, a lot of people in their sort of early 20s that might have gone off to other states or to travel, they sort of stayed put over the COVID period. And so what we are seeing is that some of them are now choosing to break their lease and heading away. And then luckily for landlords, there are more tenants there ready to, you know, and happily ready to come into that property. So I think if that trend continues as well, we might find a few more properties coming on the market just based on that trend of people sort of heading back out of the state a little bit as well.
Good stuff. Thank you, Susanna. Susanna Toop from Toop and Toop with our weekend real estate wrap. Leah's called in. Morning, Leah.
Morning.
How are you, Leah?
What's on your mind?
I was just thinking of a theme song for your opening ceremony, and seeing as it was in the Wimmera, whether you could use the Wimmaway song as part of the Lion Sleeps Tonight.
Oh, that's a great idea.
Wimmera.
A Wimmera. In the jungle of the mind. I can't get up that high. I had a crack at it.
Leah, I think you've hit on something. Leah needs to be put on the Victorian Regional Commonwealth Games Committee.
Yeah.
That's a winning idea.
They don't need a committee.
No, they need Leah.
They just need
Maybe she needs to be the czar.
The Wimmera. The
Commonwealth Games czar. Thank you, Leah. Any other ideas for the opening ceremony will be taken on 5AA Breakfast this morning. Under consideration, 8223 0000, or shoot us a text on the Automasters text line.
What about don't you love the Mallee to the sound of Don't You Love Her Madly by the Doors? That'd be good. Don't you love the Mallee? That'd be good.
It could be a whole concert series.
Leah, I'll get your number. We'll workshop this one together.
Escape winter with a Holiday Wonders day tour. Enjoy Showtime Wednesdays. Take a cosy coach ride through the hills to Mount Barker, see a classic movie and dine at Auchendoric House. If shopping is more your thing, head to Harbour Town and enjoy a buffet lunch at the Watermark. The Holiday Wonders escorted day tour to Monado Safari Park is a great day out. Or why not take their Adelaide Surrounds Mystery Tour? Call Holiday Wonders Mitcham today. holidaywonders.com.au.
Speak with One Solution and they'll tell you cybercrime is not a big business problem, a government problem or a small enterprise problem. It's everyone's problem. Ransomware, malware and adware remain the #1 threat. One call to One Solution will put your business in a safe place. It's the smartest, most cost-effective business decision you'll ever make. Get in touch with One Solution, winner of the National Telstra Customer Experience Award. onesolution.net.au.
Between interest rates and electricity prices, rent and bills are through the roof.
And look, an electricity bill, it's enough to put anyone on edge, but good news for renters, if you're feeling the pinch, EcoVantage might be able to help.
If your rent is below $400 per week, your home might qualify for a free EcoVantage heat pump changeover thanks to federal and state government incentives.
Now look, this is great because hot water chews up about 40% of your power bill, but a heat pump can bring that right down. They're up to 80% more efficient than traditional hot water systems.
So if you ask your landlord to request an EcoVantage heat pump upgrade, it means you get to save hundreds on your power bills and your landlord gets a free hot water service. Win-win.
That's right. Chat to your landlord or your agent. Ask for EcoVantage today. Visit ecovantage.com.au. T's and C's apply.
9 News has the experience to break the news. Made in Adelaide for Adelaide. 9 News.
Online, on DAB Digital Radio and on 1395 AM. Talking Adelaide. This is Adelaide's 5AA.
Partly cloudy, 15 today with the 8 o'clock news. I'm Mel Usher.
Turn your dreams into reality with the Hospital Research Foundation Home Lottery. There's more big winners than ever before.
The road toll has risen to 46 after a man died in a single vehicle crash at Penberthy in the southeast last night. Senior Constable Rebecca Stokes says the 41-year-old was given CPR but died at the scene.
He was a local man, so that's just horribly tragic for the community and also for the attending emergency services. It's bad enough having to go to any fatal crash scene, let alone if it's a local person, perhaps even someone that you know.
A home invasion at Mile End this morning may not be a random incident. A man and woman wearing balaclavas and armed with a baseball bat forced their way into a home on Cumming Street and assaulted the occupants. They then did a runner with their mobile phone. A 35-year-old woman suffered facial injuries. A 20-year-old man was also injured. Investigations are continuing. Well, thousands of South Australians have been reinfected with the Omicron variant of COVID-19. Almost 4,000 have been reported in the past fortnight. Dr Daniel Byrne from the Royal Australian College of General Practitioners SA says vaccination is the key to avoiding reinfection.
It's all to do with immunity and whether you've had your third shot. Most people have, but 30% who are eligible for their third shot still haven't got around to it. So if you were infected 3 months or more ago with COVID, you need to go and get your third or fourth booster if you're due for that.
Qantas is asking their senior executives and managers to roll up their sleeves. The airline is looking to recruit at least 100 managers to work as ground handlers up to 5 days per week for 3 months. The Flying Kangaroo staff shortages have been blamed for flight delays and cancellations, lost bags and poor customer service. Judith Durham will be farewelled in her hometown of Melbourne with a state funeral, her family accepting the Andrews government's offer yesterday. The singer's death was announced on Saturday with tributes flowing from around the world. She was 79. Australia's transition to electric vehicles could be delayed by a new car industry report. Brady Evans has the story.
A strategy shared among top motoring executives outlines a plan to limit fuel efficiency standards. It would mean new passenger cars sold in 2030 would still pump out an average of 98 grams of carbon dioxide per kilometre, higher than the maximum 95 grams recommended under European standards. The Herald reports the campaign has been developed by the Federal Chamber of Automotive Industries, which represents 39 auto brands.
Researchers have used fossilised teeth discovered in the 1970s to uncover a new species of panda. They believe the relative of today's giant panda roamed ancient forests in Bulgaria and not China. And an actor from Magnum PI has died. Roger E. Mosley ran a helicopter business in the TV series and often choppered Tom Selleck's character around. He was 83. Now turning to 5AA Sport.
New Mitsubishi Triton with 10-year warranty, 10-year capped price servicing at Agostino Mitsubishi, Nailsworth and Elizabeth.
Here's Tom Wren.
Thank you, Mel. Let's start with some breaking news. And Aussie Nick Kyrgios is continuing his brilliant 2022. He's on the verge of winning the Washington Open. The 27-year-old is going for his 7th career title. He is up a set and a break of serve late in the second set. Well, Adelaide's players will enjoy a light day today after securing back-to-back wins for just the second time this season. Coach Matty Nix delighted the club could get the win in Rory Laird's 200th game.
You know, we rate him so highly within the four walls. And I know he's rated around the league, but it's tough. When we're not winning games of footy, I understand that maybe sometimes players like he can be overlooked. But, you know, again today, he just put his head in and fought for us. And he's got a couple of wingmen now. You know, Sam Berry in there as well.
Yeah, great game from him, no doubt about that. Now, the Crows remain in 15th spot, but are only one win behind the Power, who are sitting in 12th. Meantime, Carlton captain Patrick Cripps is set to come under scrutiny for a late hit on Brisbane's Calamar Chi. Well, Australia has won gold in the women's T20 cricket at the Commonwealth Games. The Aussies defeated India by 9 runs to become just the first nation to win gold at the event. Captain Meg Lanning has told Channel 7 they're over the moon with the history-making win.
Pretty pumped. It was a pretty tense game, actually. We were under pressure a fair bit from India, but yeah, we were able to find a way through and some outstanding performances, and the atmosphere here was amazing. So certainly very pleased with the result, and we'll certainly be celebrating.
Yeah, great stuff. There were plenty of other gold medals too for the Aussies on the track, in the beach volleyball and on the netball court, with the Aussie Diamonds beating Jamaica 55-51. Briefly elsewhere, the Adelaide 36ers have signed import Craig Randall II for the NBL 23 season. Manchester City's made a dream start to the EPL season with a 2-0 away win against West Ham, but it was a horror show for Manchester United manager Erik ten Hag. He took over for his first match, the Red Devils losing 2-1 at home to Brighton. And South Africa's Ashley Buhai has won the Women's British Open in a playoff. Minjee Lee, the best of the Aussies, finishing 3 shots back in a tie for 4th. And Mel, confirmation, Nick Kyrgios has just won that tennis final, 6-4, 6-3, so a great result there for him.
Excellent. Hot off the press. Now checking 5AA traffic.
At Glen, look out for a smash on Payneham Road near Glenburn Road, causing a few delays at the moment. At Woodville, you'll find construction works there. Woodville right between Port Road and the railway line. One lane closed. Does get pretty slow throughout the morning. And in the Parklands, Rundle Road is closed between East Terrace and Kettleville Terrace for the Illuminate Festival. Busy in a few spots, including Port Road at Theberton, South Road at Mile End, also starting to build. And we've got cameras Northcote Terrace, Medindi, and Sir Donald Bradman Drive at Brooklyn Park. park. Trains can travel up to 100 kilometres per hour. Trains can't stop quickly. You can. Stand back, look up, stay rail safe. A message from the Government of South Australia. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
Now the 5AA weather.
3 out of 4 people never hear back from interviews. Shouldn't people matter more than that? Zoom Recruitment.
A partly cloudy Monday on the way, 15, mostly sunny tomorrow, 18, then dropping back to just 14 degrees on Wednesday with rain. Right now it's 8 degrees. More news as it happens on 5AA.
Please don't hold this against me, but if bi-urban bathrooms and kitchens is not your thing, well, that's okay. I mean, if people gushing over your new kitchen and bathroom means nothing to you, nothing at all, that's completely fine, I guess. But if you do appreciate millimetre-perfect craftsmanship and service of the highest standard, start here. Buyurban.com.au. Adelaide's home renovation experts.
Breakfast on 5AA. David Penberthy and Will Goodings.
Credit Union SA Bonus Savings Account. Open your account and you could be rewarded with bonus monthly interest. Consider the T's and C's.
8 after 8, we're going to play 5AA's Food, Fuel or Footy very, very shortly, thanks to Foodland, the mighty South Aussies. A reminder, if you miss out, you can hear it tonight again in the Sports Show. Your chance to choose between those 3 magnificent prizes, thanks to Foodland, on the all-new Sports Show with Tim Judith joining Stephen Rowe from this evening. Also coming up, the Premier of South Australia, Peter Malinauskas, and the host of Channel 7 Sunrise program, David Koch, not too far away.
Well, there's going to be a major national announcement today, launching a campaign about what for a very long time has been the unsung contribution that the meat processing sector makes to the Australian economy. The numbers are absolutely staggering, and I'm not entirely sure what the impetus is for this. Maybe it's a combination of the ill winds of veganism or the spectre of foot and mouth disease, but for far too long we've totally undervalued the economic contribution that's made by the meat industry. And one of the things that interests us about this story is that the site, the venue for the launch, and this is a genuine sort of from the ashes story, given the shocking fire that almost did destroy large sections of the plant only a few years ago, is Thomas Foods International in Murray Bridge, which plays a hugely important role in creating jobs for people in and around the Murray Bridge area. Chris Taylor is the CEO of the Australian Meat Processors Corporation, and we've got him on the line now this morning for Breaking It 8. Chris, good morning. Thanks so much for joining us. What is the impetus for this campaign?
Well, look, as you said, the processing industry in Australia is really one of the great unsung heroes in regional communities. For a long time, the industry has been quietly plodding away, but generating at the same time, $21 billion of national industry value and employing 138,000 people in some 300 communities around the country.
The value in South Australia, it's about $1 billion a year for the SA economy, isn't it?
That's about right, yeah. It's pretty extraordinary, and you've got those all of these operations typically in regional areas. And, you mentioned the site at Murray Bridge, which is being rebuilt at the moment. They're going to be looking for some 350 jobs in the near future as that plant's being rebuilt, and that's a fantastic opportunity.
How is it all going in Murray Bridge with Thomas Foods? Because that when that fire happened, that looked like it had the potential to be the hugest hit to the SA economy.
Yeah, look, it's probably more a question for Thomas Foods. AMPC, where I work, we support the broader industry through research and development and marketing activities. But I'd say that from what I'm hearing on the ground, it's looking like they're going to be having stage 1 of that facility being rebuilt by the end of 2022.
And I mentioned foot and mouth disease. I mean, obviously there's been a lot of coverage about that over the last month, and what a huge threat that could be to the industry here in Australia. Are you satisfied with the way it's being managed, and are you confident that the meat industry here in Australia is going to be immune from any negative effects from that?
Well, Pembo, what I would say is that there's always going to be noise, and there's always going to be something happening from a biosecurity or animal health situation, either here in Australia or elsewhere overseas. What gives me a lot of confidence is that our industry has some fantastic practices around biosecurity and traceability systems. They're the envy of the world in that regard. And, bringing it back to the communities, it's happening in local country areas, big cities in Australia, all across the country.
Yeah, well, as you say, it's a $21 billion industry for the Australian economy, and we're proud that SA, particularly there at Thomas Foods in Murray Bridge, play such a big part in generating all of that income and creating all of those jobs. Thanks for joining us this morning, Chris. Chris Taylor, the CEO of the AMPC.
Thank you.
You'll have heard in 5AA News across the morning this extraordinary story whereby Qantas is asking senior executives and managers to roll up their sleeves. The airline looking to recruit at least 100 managers to work as ground handlers up to 5 days a week for 3 months. The chairman of Strategic Aviation Solutions, Neil Hansford, was on Melbourne radio this morning. He says that's not a great idea.
This is like a thought bubble. You don't get senior people. One, they're probably physically not capable of doing it anyway. They're probably not fit enough. But look, if it's that bad, and we all know nobody can get staff, so I don't know where everybody is, but what you do is you cut your cloth to fit. So you would reduce your capacity and the number of services that you provide in order to fit what you can staff.
I'm not sure how successful it'll be as a measure. It requires people to do it voluntarily. I don't think they're not forcing anyone into doing it. You do it on top of your full-time working duties, so you go work a few days doing baggage handling as well.
Outside of hours.
Yeah. It's a big ask.
There's a wonderful video that emerged on the weekend of one of the baggage handlers here at the Adelaide Airport, worked for Virgin. There was a delay getting all of these pets off the plane. So all these poor little pets are in their little cages, in the undercarriage. And they're all stuck on the tarmac. And it would have been cold and windy as well. But this baggage handler was there just patting all of them, going from cage to cage.
Yeah, right.
Tickling under their chins and keeping them happy. Oh,
a stressful situation for them. Why is pay rises a dirty word in this conversation at the moment? Because I hear all these industries saying they can't find people. No one's putting out this advertisement saying we're going to increase what you get paid. I mean, isn't that the inevitable situation of low unemployment?
Yeah.
So someone's going to have to do it. I don't know why we don't talk about it. Nobody's talking about it.
No. It's interesting, actually. This is one part of the whole debate, and we're going to talk to the Premier after 8:30. And look, I'm not endorsing their methods. Indeed, their methods, their capacity for standover tactics and menace is the essence of the problem for the CFMEU. Having said that, there's no issue with a union saying, listen, our members haven't had a pay rise for 5 years. That part of the debate, and this is where some of the builders around town need to be careful, because your chief beef with any group of workers, be they organised or unorganised, cannot be, these cheeky bastards want more money. Well, if you're paying $12 for a lettuce, I mean, inflation is running at, 8%?
It will be by the end of the year.
It's 6 at the moment. It's forecast to get to 8, is it not?
Yeah, 7 or 8, yeah.
So what? Off the back of a period where no one's had a pay rise for years already, and now we're staring down the barrel of, 5 rate rises? The average, a $500,000 mortgage, and a lot of people dream of having just a $5,000 mortgage, it's gone up $500 a month to service a $500,000 mortgage. A lot of people got $1 million mortgages now with what houses have gone up. So that's an extra $1,000 a month. People are allowed to ask for more money.
Totally. We're learning the extent to which private enterprise will go to prevent people from getting paid. Like, it's clearly the last option. If you're plotting out how to solve the we don't have enough baggage handler crisis, and plot point A is let's get our executives to do it, and B, or somewhere further down the line, is let's try and pay more to attract more people to the job, you're doing it wrong.
Well, I know some people who have not only had no pay rise in the past few years, they actually had their pay cut during COVID. They took one for the team because they were told we're all in strife, so we're gonna cut your pay for the next 12 months. They never got that money back. Someone's
just texted in on the Automasters text line saying you've got to have the money to give a pay rise. You two have never employed anyone, so you got no idea. I reckon you employed hundreds of people at one point in time.
I had to do 380 pay reviews every year.
But I will say this, Not every industry struggling right now. Let's stop pretending that
there's
every industry out there is the same. There's plenty out there that made a mozza over the last 2 years.
Totally.
And are entirely in a position to pass it on to workers.
100%. 100%. You think of so many sectors that for whom COVID was an absolute godsend.
Last night in The Masked Singer, I was disappointed in The Masked Singer because now the American one set the bar so high with Rudy Giuliani being unveiled out of a Jack-in-the-Box. Every time someone gets revealed, I feel it a little bit underwhelming. But last night, notable for the history of it because the person revealed...
Take it! Oh my God! It's Ray Maloney from David!
28 years on Neighbours, I tell you, this is the shortest job I've ever had.
Yeah, so Ryan Maloney, Toadie on Neighbours, appeared in 2,869 episodes, one episode of The Masked Singer. So second gig wasn't quite as big as the first one for Toadie. Getting unveiled last night, he was the Knight.
The Knight.
Significantly less controversial than Rudy Giuliani, that's for sure.
The Knight who say, "Nyeh."
Yeah. Let's have a look at the fuel situation out there at the moment. It's not reading too badly, got to say. The ex-convenience Main North Road Prospect, $1.53.5. Liberty Marion Road Marion, $1.59.5. The OTR Bridge Road Paraka, $1.59.9. So that's all pretty good. The diesel inching down. Coles Express Port Road Woodville, $1.97.9. You can find where the cheapest fuel is in an instant with the free My RAA app. Download it today. 18 minutes after 8, we'll check traffic and be back with your opportunity to choose footy, fuel or food thanks to Foodland next. Until your new BMW arrives, Adelaide BMW will help keep your current vehicle fueled. T's and C's apply.
At Glen, look out for a smash on Paynham Road near Glenburn Road. At Woodville, construction works there. Woodville Road between Port Road and the railway line. Got a lane closed and speeds are reduced. And Brooklyn Park gas connection works continue. Henley Beach Road near Airport Road slowing things up. Busy at the moment. Port Road at Theberton, also South Road at Mile End with the camera Northcote Terrace at Medindi. Order your C coffee on the OTR app and enjoy freshly ground barista-made coffee. It's as easy as click and collect. OTR. Making life easy. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
Huge news, Adelaide sports fans. Alberton's favourite son, Tim Ginniver, now joins Stephen Rowe.
If you were to put on a sports show on 5AA in the afternoon, you'd get a Port and a Crow in.
Sparks are set to fly.
You wear your heart on your sleeve like my good self. How could that possibly go wrong, Timmy G?
Timmy G joins Rowe on the 5AA Sports Show, weekdays from 4.
It was like a squealing seagull for a chip on the outside.
On Adelaide's 5AA.
Ah, summer with a Rainwise pool. Summer without a Rainwise pool.
Got him. Wish we had a Rainwise pool.
Book your Rainwise pool install now so you can be doing more of this in summer. And remember, Rainwise pools take care of everything. Just bring a towel. Visit rainwise.com.au. Jason Clark from Simons Clark Logistics talks about One Solution and how they streamlined his business.
We were lacking an integrated approach to our IT. We needed support and to future-proof our business. Security was also a concern for us. One Solution assessed and designed a new reliable, failure-safe solution for our business. Combined with the local help desk, IT support at Simons Clark is now in a great position for the future.
Visit onesolution.net.au, winner of the National Telstra Customer Experience Award.
Now, it's never too hard to imagine having the perfect bathroom at home, but what does it really cost, I ask you?
Yes, well, that's one of the great things about Bi-Urban bathrooms and kitchens. See, when they renovate a bathroom, they do it to suit your budget. In fact, David Koch and the incredible team at Bi-Urban can show you how to do a lot more with less. They plan every detail, and it means you know exactly how much it will cost and what the outcome will be.
They can do the whole gamut of bathroom.
Yeah, yeah.
Like, you know, modest, extravagant, you name it, everything in between. And it always looks good. Doesn't matter what your budget is. That's the way they roll there at Bi-Urban Bathrooms and Kitchens, Coxie and his gang. Your bathroom, without doubt, one of the most important rooms in your home. It's an investment too. Get it right and it will add incredible value and appeal to your home. Get it wrong, you'll be living with it forever.
Exactly right. You don't want that.
It'll follow you to your grave.
It will haunt you.
Yeah.
So don't do that.
Haunt your dreams.
Don't do that. Save your dreams. Go for bathrooms. Visit biurban.com.au. They're Adelaide's home renovation experts. minutes.
How do you know if the milk you're buying is local? Easy. Just look for 3 words. Fluorio Milk Company. If the bottle you pick up has those 3 words on it, Fluorio Milk Company, it's guaranteed to be local. It's guaranteed to be fresh too. And the big plus, you're supporting SA dairy farmers, and for that, we're forever grateful. 3 words. Fluorio Milk Company. South Australian and proud of it.
It pays to have a Credit Union SA bonus savings account. As in, it literally pays up to 2.5% per annum interest. Each month you make a deposit of any amount with no withdrawals. Deposit $1 or $1,000. Either way, you can earn up to 2.5% per annum interest each month. Now, the legally stuff. Consider the terms and conditions before applying. Interest rates are subject to change. Save your way. Open a Credit Union SA bonus savings account today.
9 News has the experience to break the news. Made in Adelaide for Adelaide. 9 News.
Breakfast on 5AA. David Penberthy and Will Goodings.
Whatever you're saving for, get there quicker with a Credit Union SA bonus savings account. Please consider the T's and C's.
It's 23 minutes after 8. This is going to be fun, and we're going to do it twice over the course of the day on 5AA, again in the sports show. 5AA's food, fuel, or the footy. All you need to do is be the first caller through right now on 8223 0055, and then you need to pick which you want. I mean, that's going to be the easiest competition in the history of radio, doesn't it? There's no quiz. There's no wrong answer. You just say, yeah, that's the one I want. And this is what you're picking between. The $200 fuel voucher, a $200 food voucher, or a night out watching Port take on the Crows in Showdown 52 with a $100 dinner voucher. So you can crunch the numbers and work out, you know, value for money, what you're after. I reckon off the back of Fuel Watch a few moments ago, fuel at $1.50, suddenly it's not a bad day to have $200 worth of free fuel. You might think to yourself, it's going to go a hell of a long way. 8223 0055 is the number if you'd like to play. With more stores close to home and everyday low prices, great food lives at Foodland, the mighty South Aussies. $200 worth of food. You'd cook up a storm with that.
Yeah, that'd last you ages.
All right.
As long as you don't get an iceberg lettuce, you know.
Well, you could
buy the stuff that's in season or hasn't gone up too much. What about beans at the moment? Oh, I tell you what, if you see someone eating beans, you know they're going all right.
Is that the new caviar? Is it?
I saw them for $40 a kilo.
Yikes.
$40 a kilo.
Yikes!
French beans, green beans.
What's a bean substitute? Give our listeners a value add. Give them something.
Oh, zucchinis. Zucchinis are cheap.
Thank you.
Get any of your zucchinis.
Andrea's the first caller through. Congratulations to you, Andrea, and good morning.
Good morning.
Well done, Andrea. So, are you going to have a discussion with your better half, or have you got a sense as to what you're going to spend the money on?
Yeah, I think so. Yes.
So, Andrea, the question is this: do you want the food, the fuel, or the footy?
I'll have the fuel, please.
Well, the fuel's coming your way, Andrea. Hey, what's your strategy at the moment with filling up the car? Do you always do a full tank, or are you doing $20, $10, 20 litres? What's your strategy?
Yeah, bits and pieces.
Yeah, that's what I do. It's 20. I do 20 litres if it's looking no good, and fill it up if it's looking good. I don't know if that works.
Right. And you try and get it when it's at the lowest.
That's right.
But it's going to go up higher when the excess comes off.
Yeah, it will. It will. The excise will be. So we would be paying about $1.70 something now. So you get to that $200 voucher into the car, Andrea. And thank you for calling in. Good, lovely to chat with you there in magnificent Westlakes this morning.
You might have known Andrea growing up, Will. You might have been neighbours.
Maybe.
Yeah.
I didn't think it was appropriate to ask where in Westlake she lives.
No, you don't want to pry too much.
Certainly now that she's in possession of a $200 fuel voucher.
I know, exactly.
With more stores close to home and everyday low prices, great food lives at Foodland. The mighty South Aussies. We will have another of those excellent choices to make in the sports show tonight when Tim Ginniver joins Stephen Rowe.
Getting a few texts about the cost of living and about pay rises. One here says it's the balance between bumper years that won't continue and being able to give a pay rise that's sustainable and enduring to keep a company afloat in the long term, not just the bumper years. There's no excuse for not giving one-off bonuses to help share the money and ease the pressure, though. without inflating the total wage bill. And then this person signs off, sorry, I know that you hate us HR folk. We don't hate HR. We don't hate anybody.
No, hate's a strong word. Does HR do in charge of pay? I mean, the governance of a company. I mean, if you tell HR it's time to give everyone we need to do a recruitment drive, wouldn't you?
Yeah,
they're not responsible for.
No, they don't set that sort of stuff.
Surely not. Maybe they are.
Fred says in the 70s, interest rates 13%. I had my day job and 2 part-time jobs to service that loan, which was about $27,000. I paid a lot of tax on the 2 part-time jobs, but they got me through the hard times. They say there's work out there, especially at night. Good on you, Fred.
There certainly is at the moment. 27 minutes after 8, 5AA News is on the way. The Premier of South Australia next.
G'day, South Australia. Cheats here. Over the years, I've seen some great South Australian teams, but the best has to be the team from BL Shipway, who I've known for over 30 years. They've been looking after the state's hydraulic and pneumatic needs since 1953. You can find them on Richmond Road with stock on hand from quality brands like Ryco, Rexroth, Hydac and Enerpac. If you can't get to them, they'll send a Ryco 24/7 van to you anytime, anywhere. blshipway.com.au, a South Australian team you can count on.
If you want to build a new home, something that reflects you and your lifestyle, then you really need to speak with Beechwood Homes. And just so you know, they won't try and sell you a house plan. In fact, there's no house plans until you tell them what you want. So go for it. Start thinking of all the possibilities or get in touch with Beechwood Homes for a few thought starters. Life's good. It's even better in a Beechwood home. Google Beechwood Adelaide.
Now, when I think of winter, I think of hearty meals that fill the belly and warm the soul, David.
Oh, you want something slow, something out of the old crock pot, maybe some beef bourguignon, maybe a feijoada. But you paint a beautiful word picture, Will. You're right. All of these things, pasta, soup, stews, perfect.
And you want to cook with the best ingredients, don't you? One of the best ingredients is not trihalomethanes.
No, trihalomethanes are just one of the nasty things that Puritap filters take out, leaving you with the best, most beautiful tasting water.
You never go to a restaurant and they say, and would you like a serve of trihalomethanes on the side?
Yeah, I'll have that with the scallop potato.
Right now, you can get a Puritap from $49 up front, and that is incredible value.
These things are a very rare combination. They are both excellent and affordable.
Yes.
Like Puritaps look great, and they only cost $49 up front. So get one. It includes the designer tap, installation and filters for 2 years on a great payment plan.
Drink beautiful water and cook with beautiful tasting water. Call Puritap on 133 502 or go to puritap.com.au. T's and C's apply.
Mini Jumbuck, now in McLaren Vale, make Australia's favourite wool bedding products, proudly made right here in South Australia. Mini Jumbuck uses the finest Australian wool to handcraft their quilts, mattress toppers, pillows and more. Sleeping with wool allows your body to adjust to its ideal temperature, so you'll sleep more peacefully and wake refreshed. If you're looking to improve your quality of sleep, start with a visit to Mini Jumbuck McLaren Vale today, open 7 days. Mini Jumbuck McLaren Vale, Australian made, Australian owned.
G'day, it's Mark Bickley. For most business PC brands, a 4-hour service guarantee means they'll call you back in 4 hours. But at Leader Computers, a 4-hour service guarantee on Leader's business range means they'll come to your worksite and have you back in business inside 4 hours. Leader Computers are local, made here in Adelaide with better service, better support and speedy turnaround times. Live life local. Live life Leader. Leader Computers. Find your local dealer at leadersystems.com.au.
5AA Breakfast is streaming live right now. To watch, simply head online to 5AA Facebook or search 5AA on YouTube. This is Adelaide's 5AA.
Partly cloudy, 15 today with the 8:30 news. I'm Mel Usher.
Your ticket to live mortgage-free in Somerton Park is here, thanks to the Hospital Research Foundation Home Lottery.
There's been another fatal accident on our roads. Senior Constable Rebecca Stokes says a man was killed in a single vehicle crash at Penberthy in the southeast last night.
Our Country Fire Service crews were the first on scene and they immediately commenced CPR on the injured driver. Paramedics quickly took over, but sadly the 41-year-old Penberthy man could not be saved.
A home invasion at Mile End is under investigation. A man and woman wearing balaclavas and armed with a baseball bat forced their way into a home on Cumming Street in the early hours of this morning. The two occupants were assaulted, intruders then stealing a mobile phone and running off. A 35-year-old woman received facial injuries. A 20-year-old man was also injured. Police say it may not be a random incident. Almost 500,000 South Australians have failed to get their third booster jab to protect against COVID, and fewer than 40% have had a fourth dose. Medics say that's played a part in why thousands have been reinfected with the Omicron variant in recent weeks. Dr Danny Byrne from the Royal Australian College of General Practitioners advises keeping up your jabs.
You need to have as many vaccines that you're eligible for to be fully immunised. So 2 is not enough. If you've only had 2 vaccines back in 2021, you may as well have had 0 as far as this new variant is concerned.
In a bid to diffuse controversy over a $125,000 donation to the Labor Party by the CFMEU, the state government has decided to repay the money or donate it to charity. The decision by Premier Peter Malinauskas comes days after the Victorian branch of the construction union formally took control of the South Australian branch. The government about-face on the issue comes after Master Builders Association cars were vandalised on Friday. The Premier has said that kind of behaviour cannot be accepted in South Australia. In a major legislative victory for President Biden, the US Senate has worked through the night to pass his historic tax and clean energy bill. Alison Petrowski reports.
The Inflation Reduction Bill will make a $534 billion climate investment, including tax credits for clean energy businesses, consumer incentives for solar-powered systems and electric vehicles, and aims to reduce carbon emissions by 40% by 2030. It is the biggest climate investment in US history, the Senate pushing through a marathon weekend sitting with Vice President Kamala Harris making the deciding vote.
The Vice President votes in the affirmative, and the bill, as amended, is passed.
The bill is expected to be signed off on by the end of this week and will make America a global leader in the fight against climate change.
And Top Gun Maverick has replaced Titanic on the list of the all-time highest-grossing films in the US. The sequel moves into 7th spot after making more than $660 million stateside. Now turning to 5AA Sport.
10-year warranty and 10-year capped price servicing at Agostino Mitsubishi, Nailsworth and Elizabeth.
It's over to Tom Wren.
Thank you, Mel. Let's start with footy. Adelaide's players will arrive home from Perth around lunchtime today, fresh after recording back-to-back wins. Meantime, Sydney coach John Longmire says everyone should enjoy Lance Franklin doing his stuff and stop speculating about his future. Longmire says the star forward will make his decision at the end of the season.
And he's got that right. He's been playing for such a long time and given the game so much. Sometimes we can look into things and just, want answers and black and white answers and this and that. Sometimes you've just got to sit back and enjoy the moment with him and see him play his footy and do his stuff.
North Melbourne's Ben Cunnington says it's good to be back meantime after spending 375 days on the sidelines after being diagnosed with cancer. The 31-year-old midfielder resumed in the VFL with 18 touches and 3 tackles. Well, Australia has won its 1,000th Commonwealth gold medal after beating Jamaica 55-51 in the netball final. The women's T20 cricket side has also taken out gold, beating India by 9 runs. Kelsey Lee Barber took out gold in the women's javelin, while Peter Bowl won silver in the men's 800 metres. To soccer, and star signing Erling Haaland has hit the ground running for new side Manchester City. The 22-year-old Norwegian striker bagging a brace in his first match as City took care of West Ham 2-0.
But here's Haaland, he's in again, scores again. That's what he's all about. That's why he's got the big reputation.
He looks very good. That audio thanks to Optus. City's bitter crosstown rivals Manchester United, not good for them. They suffered a shock 2-1 loss at home to Brighton. And Aussie Nick Kyrgios has claimed his first ATP singles title in 3 years by taking out the Washington Open final in straight sets. And that's the 5AA Sport.
Now checking 5AA traffic.
At Hindmarsh, look out for a crash on the north-south motorway near Port Road. At Glen, there's a collision there, Paynham Road near Glenburn Road. At Woodville, you'll find construction works on Woodville Road between Port Road and the railway line. Good lane closed, does get pretty slow going. And we're getting busy at the moment, Port Road at Theberton and also Grange Road at Welland. Cameras, Adelphi Terrace, Glenelg North and Northcote Terrace at Gilberton. Enjoy exceptional savings for a limited time on the Mercedes-Benz C-Class Edition C. It's in a C-Class of its own. Shop in store or online today. T's and C's apply. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
Now the 5AA forecast.
3 out of 4 people never hear back from interviews. Shouldn't people matter more than that? Zoom Recruitment.
We're heading for a top of 15 today and partly cloudy, mostly sunny tomorrow 18, Wednesday rain and 14. Right now it's 9 degrees. More news as it happens on 5AA.
Breakfast on 5AA. David Penberthy and Will Goodings.
Whatever you're saving for, get there quicker with a Credit Union SA bonus savings account. Please consider the T's and C's.
23 to 9. Like this from Paul and McGill on the Automasters text line, who says, kudos to whoever's responsible for the Rundle Mall speakers piping Judith Durham this morning. Don't know who would...
That's lovely.
That's what a lovely gesture. Well, to whoever that is, we echo Paul's sentiments, and good on you. Hey, if you're a Port fan listening this morning, you'll know we've got David Koch up very shortly. What would you ask him?
Yeah.
What's the question you'd put to the boss of your footy club? 0480081395. That's the Automasters text line number. We'll ask him it. Whatever you think it should be when he joins us very, very shortly.
Well, big news yesterday with the Premier, Peter Malinauskas, announcing that after several weeks of criticism about the $125,000 loan that SA Labor accepted from the Victorian branch of the CFMEU just 3 days before the March 19 election, that Labor had now relented, and the trigger for this was the fact that there was some suspicious activity outside the Master Builders Association office on Friday, including its CEO, Will Frogley, having the windscreen wipers snapped off his car. Peter Malinauskas ordered SA Labor to hold an emergency meeting of state executive today where the decision will be made to either hand back the money to the union or donate it to a charity. We have the Premier on the line now. Good morning, Premier, and thank you for your time. Do you think if you had your time over, you would never have taken the money in the first place?
Well, as we've discussed previously, Dave, that money was sort of part of the usual process of seeking donations in the lead up to the election campaign, and was sought, as I understand it, originally through the South Australian branch of the CFMEU. And what we've seen since then is a takeover of the Victorian branch. And I put some pretty clear markers in the ground about what standards I expect to be complied with and the way I think industrial relations should operate in South Australia, including within construction sites. And as I said to you guys, I think it was only last week, that if I see evidence of people behaving in a way that is not consistent with that, then we'll call it out and act accordingly. And that's exactly what I did yesterday after I spoke to Will Frogley, who it just so happens was at a press conference with me yesterday morning about an important announcement that we made in respect to getting first home buyers into the market.
So in the absence of that happening yesterday, you'd keep the money?
Well, what I said was, let's put a line in the sand and make it clear about what our expectations are. The Victorian branch formally took over the South Australian branch of the CFMEU, I understand, on Wednesday night. And we wanted to give them a chance to sort of behave in a way that was consistent with what we think is best practice. And when that didn't occur, I called it out straight away.
I'm not sure. You saw that video of the meeting, didn't you, with them all shouting and screaming and fists in the air? Is the more ominous part of this story, and we were just saying before, talking about pay rises and how a lot of our listeners haven't had a pay rise for years. There's no issue with any group of workers, be they unionised or not, asking for a pay rise. The question goes to their tactics. What will you do as Premier to make sure that we don't have a situation? Because my understanding is that John Secker at the meeting said this is exactly what he wants to do. He doesn't think there should be any non-unionised workers on building sites in South Australia. What can you do as Premier to stop them from using these types of standover tactics?
Well, look, make sure that the law is enforced first and foremost, Penbo. But, as you are well aware, and probably most of your listeners might be, is that when it comes to the governance of industrial relations in our country, in the private sector, that's entirely done by the federal government, or by the Commonwealth Parliament. So, in many respects, our hands are tied behind our back. But what I would say is that as the leader of the state and as Premier, I'll be calling out bad behaviour where I see it and expect people to conduct themselves in a professional way. You're quite right. I mean, I think, we should draw a distinction between hard-working people in the construction sector who are perfectly entitled to organise themselves and and seek pay rises, particularly in the current environment with what's happening with inflation. But I think that can be done in a professional way, in a pragmatic way that represents the best interests of not just those workers, but the economy more broadly. And that's a philosophy I've always had in respect of industrial relations, and that's not about to change.
These guys look like a walking advertisement for the retention of the Australian Building and Construction Commission, don't they?
Well, I've got to say, whoever the peanut is that decided to put stickers on the cars and break the windscreen wipers, I don't think they've done themselves a great service, and I certainly don't think they've done their fellow construction workers in the sector a very good service either. I mean, I think what we need to see in this country is civil industrial relations, particularly at a time where there are challenges. We need wages to go up. That is, I think, patently obvious. But we also need to be done in such a way that is productive for the economy more broadly, and that means working with employers rather than against them.
So can we just be clear, what's happening with the money? Are you giving it back to them, or are you making a donation to charity?
Well, so when I wrote my letter yesterday to the party secretary, I made it clear that I think they should either return it or donate the money. That'll be a decision for party office. The reason why I put those options in there is I think there is some issue in respect to party rules in terms of what can and can't be done with party funds and the purposes and the objects of funds of the party. I mean, ultimately, that money now being in the receipt of the Australian Labor Party, it's up to them to decide what happens with it. But either way, I want to send a very clear signal on the back of what we understood happened on Friday afternoon.
Ideally, though, what would you do? What would you have them do if you had a preference and you weren't bound by those rules? What's the rightful thing to do to the money? Because I reckon everyone listening is thinking, geez, it's a pretty good deal for the CFMEU if they just get their money back.
Well, I think either a return of the money. I mean, it's important to remember here that this is not John Secker's money. I mean, this is money that belongs to construction workers in South Australia, as far as I'm concerned. I mean, I get frustrated that sometimes when we see bad behaviour on behalf of union officials, that unfairly characterises the people who work in the sector. I mean, people who are on construction sites today doing important work, sometimes very dangerous work, that's their money. So look, but I'll let the party decide about what happens to the funds. But either way, I don't think they should be in the receipt of the party, given what occurred on Friday afternoon.
Premier Peter Malinauskas, thanks for joining us this morning on 5AA Breakfast.
No worries, gents. Appreciate it. Cheers. 16
minutes to 9. David Koch very shortly. Gee, there's lots of texts coming through on the Automasters text line from Port fans with some...
I'd be too embarrassed to read some of those questions to Koshy. I really like David Koch. I'll be totally open about that. But crikey, if that's a snapshot of sentiment among Port fans, you can read them to him.
I do appreciate that so many of them are statements that just end with a question mark.
Yeah, that's right. Hey, and sincere thanks to everybody for sending them in. It's a really interesting sort of instant focus group.
Absolutely. No, we'll be.
It's one of the great things about working here. Like, you get a really good sense of what people think about stuff, and it makes it easy to work out things like election results, because you can just tell from the texts. And look, sadly, if this were an election, there's not many people voting one Ken Hickley.
No, he's really up against it. He's going to speak to the preference whisperer, I think.
Yeah, that's right.
Come through a back channel. 15 to 9, let's check traffic until your new BMW arrives. Adelaide BMW help keep your current vehicle fueled. T's and C's apply.
Thanks, Will. At Hindmarsh, there's a crash on the north-south motorway near Port Road. At Glen, you'll find residual delays from an earlier smash, Paynham Road near Glenburn Road. At Woodville, construction works, Woodville Road between Port Road and the railway line. One lane closed and speeds are reduced there. And we're getting busy Churchill Road at Dudley Park. Cameras at Delphi Terrace, Glenelg North and Langman Grove at Felixstowe. The TV shock of the year happens tonight. The Block walkout will rock Australia. Don't miss it. The new season of The Block, 7:30 tonight on 9 and 9 now. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
When you die, who gets what? Will your kids or relatives argue over your estate? Will your beneficiaries be protected? Will your estate be tax effective? Will your wishes be respected and carried out? Speak with Donlan Lawyers now for peace of mind. Donlan Lawyers, for wills and estate planning. Visit donlanlawyers.com. That's donlanlawyers.com. city-discount-tires.com.
City Discount Tires. Get saving this month at City Discount Tires. When you buy 3 Wild Peak AT3W all-terrain tyres, you'll get the 4th tyre free. The perfect tyre for your next adventure. City Discount Tires are a proud multi-tyre and wheel brand retailer offering great service at great prices. Visit citydiscounttires.com.au to find your nearest store. City Discount Tires. We're driven by value.
City Discount Tires.
When My Living Outdoors say they take care of everything on your decking, veranda or pergola project, they mean it. And David, you've experienced firsthand when they built your new veranda.
Absolutely. It's a thing of beauty. I was only sitting under it last night. We're out there every night. It's an absolute joy to behold. Dealing with Michael and the rest of the gang at My Living Outdoors, it was a smooth first-class experience from start to finish. And it all comes down to their seasoned builders because everything from design and council approval to construction was sorted.
Exactly right, and their motto is good enough doesn't cut it, and that attention to detail creates decks, verandas and pergolas that you're going to love for a lifetime.
That's right, and look, the thing is, it starts with happy tradies because Adelaide's best tradies, they love working with My Living Outdoors. Michael and his team, they know that happy tradies care more, so they'll give your home improvements the attention and the care that they deserve.
Visit mylivingoutdoors.com.au and take advantage of their August cashback sale. Save up to $1,000 on any carport, decking or veranda project and up to $250 off any outdoor blinds or roller shutters project. On now till August 31st.
Life-changing moments can happen in many ways. Purchase a ticket in the Hospital Research Foundation Home Lottery and you could be our next winner. The amazing $3 million grand prize in Somerton Park is a fully furnished Scott Salisbury home and is just one of many life-changing prizes to be won. Retire early, invest or live mortgage-free. The choice is yours. Support South Australia's healthcare heroes and join the fight at homelottery.com.au. Licence M14227.
Saving for this? Maybe some of this? Then you're going to need one of these. Sorry, we didn't have a sound effect for a Credit Union SA bonus savings account, but we can give you up to 2.5% per annum interest each month you make a deposit of any amount with no withdrawals. 2.5%. What a bonus. Save your way with a Credit Union SA bonus savings account. Consider the terms and conditions before applying. Interest rates are subject to change.
9 News has the experience to break the news. Made in Adelaide for Adelaide. 9 News.
Breakfast on 5AA. David Penberthy and Will Goodings.
Credit Union SA bonus savings account. Open your account and you could be rewarded with bonus monthly interest. Consider the T's and C's.
11 to 9 behind closed doors coming up in a moment. Remember, you can watch along at any time on the Credit Union SA live stream. Just simply head to Facebook or YouTube and search FIVEAA. It's time to catch up with the host of Channel 7 Sunrise program, David Koch. Morning to you, Koshy.
Morning, gents.
Koshy, let's talk Port Adelaide because I reckon most people appreciate there were some mitigating circumstances that led to the slow start this year and the disappointing month and a bit that opened the year. There were injuries and problems. But how do you explain the last month where the side's gone 1-4 in a period where they're fighting for their season and players have come back? Has that month and the underperformance in it changed the complexion for you when considering the future of Ken Hinkley?
Certainly it doesn't affect or change my opinion of any one person. It changes my opinion of the program and how much we need to improve the program. Like in the last 10 years, we've never finished, I think, below 10th. So we've always been competitive right up to the last minute of finals, or been playing in finals, or been playing in preliminary finals. Obviously, this year will be the worst finish that we've had in the last 10 years, and something's got to change. But that's a whole of program decision. Like the AFL isn't all about individuals. It's about comparing programs with programs, and we've got to get better. We've got to make some hard decisions. And as I said last week and the week before, we will assess every single line item in the football department at the end of the year when it's appropriate. When we do every year, we have a thorough assessment of our program. We look at the new IP we need to bring in and how we get better, because if you don't improve, you go backwards. That's how tough and how close the competition is. So everything's on the table, but it's program by program.
I'm not talking about the real hardcore element who put up the Sack Hinkley sign though, David. It does feel to me, and we've had a lot of feedback this morning from Port fans who listen to the show. It feels like there's almost a consensus emerging among your supporters that, rightly or wrongly, Ken is part of the problem, and that if you do continue to peter out the way you are this year, that he shouldn't be at Alberta next year.
Well, look, we've got 2 games, and one very important game in round 23 that we've got to focus on and try and finish the year on a high and turn it around and give our supporters and the board and everyone involved in the club a tonic for the end of the year, some hope that we have been improving, and that's going to be a challenge for everyone to be doing that. But as I say, we look at the data, we look at what is making up the squad, the reason for the poor performances, and we assess it as a whole. Take responsibility for the losses, but also as well as sharing the successes.
Well, can I push? Sorry to keep pushing on this, Dave, but I'm just doing it purely because it's what the feedback we're getting.
I'm not going to give you the answer that you want because it's not appropriate at this time of the season. Yes, football is very emotional. I'm as emotional as anyone. You only need to look at my Apple Watch during a game to realise how my heart rate goes up, and you ride every kick. Do not think that we aren't as emotional and aren't as concerned as anybody else. Far from it. But it's our job, my job, as chairman of the board, to look at it, take the emotion out of it, and look at it in the cold, hard facts of what we need to do. As I say, we're not afraid to make hard decisions. We made some pretty hard decisions at the end of 2017, 2018 with the makeup of our squad.
So based on our conversation, now, would an inaccurate headline be, given your comments about the next 2 games, Ken, turn it around or watch out?
I think the whole program. It's not just one individual person. It is the whole program. Turn it around or watch out, because there is every single person's role will be assessed at the end of the year. As I say, as we do each year, but this year more important than ever. And we're not afraid to make change. We've made plenty of changes. And we have high expectations both on field and off field. When on field isn't performing at all, doesn't matter what you do off field in terms of redevelopment at Alberta and the whole lot, we got to win games. And we know that's what we exist to do, is to succeed on field. And so we will be making those hard decisions at the end of the year across the entire program to make us better next year.
Kochie, sorry to turn that into a bit of a press conference, and we appreciate your candor as always, mate.
I did expect it.
And also, being Crows fans, we're much happier talking at the moment about on-field disasters as opposed to off-field disasters.
No, I do gather that, but I'll leave you to it.
Thank you,
Good
Kochie.
on you, mate.
Host the Channel 7 Sunrise program, David Koch. It's time to go behind closed doors thanks to Aussie Fast Transport Solutions, interstate freight distribution, warehousing and local Adelaide couriers. Call Aussie Fast on 13 13 64.
And when we get behind closed
5AA Weekend Breakfast with Mike Keelan and Angie McBride.
Yes, here we are again. 82230000 is the number, and Michael Keelan is here. Hello, Michael.
Yeah, hello, Angie. Here we are again.
A big show for you today. We're going to be talking all about scams.
Yeah, that's right. Scams. Gosh, they're everywhere, aren't they? They're even pretending to be someone that you know, like a relative, and then they message you and say, can you send me some money?
Yeah, they're really sneaky, aren't they?
They sure are. So just be aware of that. Don't fall for it, for goodness sake.
That's right.
I'm always saying to Prue, don't answer the phone if you don't recognise the number.
Yes.
But she doesn't care. She just answers the phone anyway.
Oh.
She just won't listen to me. It's no wonder people get ripped off.
But they can't really rip you off, Michael, just because you answer the phone.
Well, you never know. They're very clever these days.
Ricky has called in. Hello, Ricky.
Oh, hello, Michael and Angie.
Hello, Ricky.
I've been listening to your program for a long time, and I love it.
Oh, that's fantastic, Ricky.
And I'd love to send you a present.
Oh, no, look, you don't have to do that, Ricky. All that we require is that you listen and enjoy yourself.
No, I insist on doing that because you bring me so much pleasure, Michael.
Well, that's a lovely gesture, Ricky.
So I would like to treat you and your lovely wife to a show at the Dunstan Playhouse. It is called Chalkface, and it is from the State Theatre Company. You will enjoy that, I think.
Oh, that's lovely. When's that on?
That will be on Friday night at 7:30.
Oh, fantastic.
So if you give me your home address, I will send you the tickets.
Okay, well, I'll have to give you that off the air, Ricky, because, you never know who's listening.
Oh, yes, you have to be very careful of that sort of thing.
Well, it's exactly what we've just been talking about. You've got to be really on your toes these days.
Oh, most certainly. So you will be out with your wife on Friday night from 7:30 till around 10?
Yep, that sounds great. Thank you very much for that, Ricky. It's much appreciated.
Oh, you're very welcome.
Michael?
Well, wasn't he nice?
Yes, but Michael...
Don't usually have listeners that want to give you things, so that's a lovely surprise. Oh, I just got a message.
Who's it from, Michael?
Oh, speak of the devil, it's from Prue. Oh, she's lost her phone, wants me to transfer some money into her account to buy a new one.
Michael...
A bit lucky she sent me her account number because I wouldn't have a clue what that was.
Michael, I think you should...
Right, that's done. Now let's talk about the latest scams going around because people really need to be aware.
Yes, I think we should...
Oh, Prue must have found her phone. She says, what are you talking about? I haven't lost my phone.
Yeah, Michael...
Between you and me, I think Prue might be losing her mind.
It's all from us. Leon Biner's coming up shortly. And remember, check out the all-new sports show tonight with Tim Ginniver joining Stephen Rowe, and there's certainly lots to talk about in the world of footy. We'll catch you tomorrow.
For over 38 years, Steinborner has been well worth the trip. With over 400 used cars to choose from, you're sure to find the car you're looking for. The team at Steinborner have been buying up the best vehicles around, so you can enjoy your first drive back from Gawler in one. And don't forget, you can always click through the collection of vehicles on